org. I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was you.
I don't know. But let me see. I'm trying to.
Sounds like you because you're talking.
We'll so I'm still Borging now. You still hear?
You're not Borging now.
Okay.
Every once in a while.
Okay.
I'm hoping it's not me because I'm connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, mine has been in and out, man. I don't know.
Yeah, most of this stuff has been in and out lately. It's like, damn, they can't get the Wi-Fi correctly or some shit.
Yeah, man. Well, I saw this, man. I got excited. I'm like, man, who can I talk to about this? And then I thought, well, who's been harassing me most about my sword collection? Which person can I? Man, let me see. Well, there's only one person I can think of.
It had to be me, right?
Of course, man. You're the only one sending me emails like, "No, man, how long are you gonna leave them swords sitting back there?"
Man, I tell you, man, I gotta be a motivator. I gotta motivate a little bit.
Oh man, no, you got me going. But I kept buying the shelves, and they kept sending me broken ones, and I had to keep sending.
Oh, really?
Back. Yeah, and then the quarantine hit, and then I couldn't get anything shipped for a minute, and that was annoying. So I finally got the shelf in and had to set them up. So I was like, what's up, Forte? You want to be in? Art of Forte?
Yeah, you can get 40 in on this. He might need it though.
He might what?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, let me see.
He might not have seen the movie. I don't think he saw the movie yet.
He's saying he wasn't invited.
He didn't do the reading.
Actually, BGS suggested Forte, so I thought he had invited you. He said he's at the store right now. He can't.
Throw Ford up there so you could talk shit to him because he deserves it.
He says he says he's at the store right now. So I'm like, damn, okay. What's up, 30?
What's up, 30? What's up, Albert Bird?
AB Media, what's going on?
Birdman of the Manosphere.
We still waiting for BGS and Valdez to come on through, but we up and going. So hit the like button as you come in, people. Y'all know the deal.
The OG is coming.
Right. Appreciate that.
Prima ballerinas. What's up, Malika?
Yeah. What's up, Malika? How you doing, man? So yeah. Now this was a trip, man. I really slept on it. I didn't even think about it till I saw a commercial like a month ago, and then I forgot about it. And I messed around and watched it one day and was like, "What the hell?" So I said, "Man, we gotta look at this." So
yeah, I wasn't even thinking about this shit until you sent me the text about it, and that's why I was like, "Oh, they doing a Justice League 2 movie? That must have slipped by me." And then that's why I asked you, "Is this animated or what?" Because I started searching for it, and I kept getting back to animated stuff.
Right.
And sure enough, I watched some of the animated stuff, but I watch it here and there. I was like, oh shit, Apokolips War? Gotta watch this one.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find it for free, and I'm fucking disappointed. I am disappointed, dude.
I sent you a text. I was like, I can help you with that, but I didn't hear back.
So I didn't get that one. Yeah, I didn't get that one.
Because in my classes, I'm able to show films through Zoom. So we watch them over we watch films in class online. And I was like, holla at me, but I didn't hear back. So
yeah, I didn't get that text. I wish I would have got that text because I was sitting here looking for it. I went through a couple of different sites looking for it on the Chiefski and found one, and it looked like it was fishing me. Looked like it was fishing. I said, man, how the hell I did all this and I get on there and the movie ain't even on there? I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers right here, they about to get straight blocked.
They won't even release it on DVD till later this month.
Well, no, they were pissing me off that they wouldn't even give it for rental. You gotta buy it only. You can't even rent it. You gotta buy it. I'm like, what if it's garbage? What if some shit I don't want to see?
Right.
I already heard about your Red Son. Your Red Sun review? Nah. Maybe I don't want to pay for this.
Well, this one
could
was
let me get a sample, and then I'll decide if I want to buy it.
They ain't doing none of that. They know you're gonna be in and out. But nah, man, just on some of the things that happened, I was like, even if the story is whack, I would watch it again just on some of some of it was a lot more bloody than I ever thought it would be. So
yeah, but that was, to me, that was good and a bad thing at the same time, because I know all of these movies are trying to get darker, and DC is finally finding their niche with doing their black label stuff.
Right.
They pretty much figured they found their niche where people want to go, but it makes sense for DC because DC has always been seen as a more adult oriented comic. You got bigger stories, you got broader stories, and more intellectual stuff going on, which is fine. So them doing some of this darker stuff, or just at least seeing blood or something like that, it's like, yeah, why the hell weren't you? You should have been doing that the whole time. And it was a lot of that in this. A couple of the sneak clips I saw before I got the whole movie was like, oh damn, this is, I know some DC fans' hearts breaking somewhere.
Yes. I have never ever seen a movie where they rip Wonder Woman's arm off. Like, I'm like, word? I'm sitting there with my son. I'm sitting there with my son, and we watching it, and the first limb got ripped off, and we were like, "What?" we got to pay attention.
That was my now. Yeah, that was my thing. See, that was my thing. I didn't even get the movie clips of the movie when I thought I had found, the free-ski version of the movie. I'm watching this shit, and it's just jump clips. It's like they recorded part of it, stopped, recorded some of it, stopped, recorded some more, stopped. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But it was all the fight scenes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm seeing people loot without limbs and shit. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I gotta know what led up to that.
Right.
And then I went back and watched it. Yeah, then I went back and watched this. Like, oh, this is a lot better.
Oh, there you go. We got Valdez in the building. What's up, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Oh man,
the Angry has arrived.
Yeah. I was like, yo, I watched I was telling Artisan a second ago, I watched the first limb get pulled off, and I was like, all right, who can I talk to about this? Because this got to be dealt with.
Why is this thing dragging, man?
Oh yeah, this was
I'm dragging, man. Don't start that shit with me, phone.
This was Black Pill.
See if that helps.
Black Pill. So yeah.
What's up, Angry?
What's going on, Artisan? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can't hear him.
Yeah, this
I can't hear him.
Artisan, you can't hear him?
You can't hear me?
I don't hear him at all.
He says
my thing is giving me alert that it's having a connection problem.
Okay. You want to come out and come back in, or what you want to do?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah,
man.
This was definitely it was definitely dark. Definitely dark.
I was telling him, as soon as I saw Wonder Woman get her arm ripped off, I was like, word?
Yeah.
It's like that?
Yeah. You know
the
what
angriest of man.
You know what it reminded me of? I don't know if you guys ever watched well, I'm pretty sure you guys watched Gargoyles back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Remember when they had went to Avalon and it was coming back, and they came back to it seemed like it was the future, and Xanatos had took over everything, and they was just killing people, right? That's what it remember that.
Okay.
This has to be some sort of dream sequence,
right.
We're gonna have to do this thing again, because there's no way they can leave it like that.
Nah.
It was brutal.
Nah, people were dying left and right. And I gotta admit, the way they generally do women, when women started dying, I was like, okay. I was like, y'all not playing, something going on. Because they took out, I think it was Batgirl and Batwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And no, they just gone. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm going there.
I liked it. I was kind of skeptical about it because of Red Sun.
Yeah.
But I I said screw it. I always liked the other characters like Constantine, and so I was like screw it, and I bought it, right? And
You did the same thing.
yeah, I just went ahead and bought it. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, I don't detect any overt feminism in there, so
Gotcha.
Yeah, they had a couple little moments I didn't like, but by the time limbs start getting ripped off, I was like, you know what? I'll deal with it.
Give it to him.
Yeah, you know, if everybody catching death evenly, all right, you know, let's do it.
yeah.
You know?
Nah, I saw the feminist elements in it. I was smelling that on it too. It's like Apocalypse War. Do we need a douche? It's like, okay, I'm seeing the elements. But okay.
Now
I'm gonna let y'all rock.
I'm a little bit of a nitpicker. So the only thing that I didn't like is they used Tony Todd, the guy that played Candyman, to do Darkseid's voice.
Right.
Did they? That didn't sound like him.
Yeah.
I was wondering who they used too, because usually they use I forgot that other black actor. They usually use his voice, and they didn't use it this time.
Brar. That's who I wanted.
Exactly. That's who I wanted.
Darkseid.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect for Darkseid. But you know, that was the only thing I really didn't like about it. I liked everything else, like, you know, because to me it seems like DC, when they're doing their animated movies, it seems like they're leaning more towards an anime style, which is cool, you know, because they're actually raising the stakes by having people get taken out like that, you know?
Exactly.
Because Flashpoint Paradox, that joint was brutal like that.
Yeah.
Throne of Atlantis too. Throne of Atlantis was one. You got Mirror showing up and killing folks. It's like, oh, they just murdering folks now. Straight up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that Flashpoint joint, by the time they ripped, I think it was Wonder Woman took off Aquaman's arm. I was like, oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This where we at now.
Oh no, I think it might have been Superman. It might have been Superman that shot his arm off, but I didn't know it was getting that deep, you know. But as far as Darkseid, man, you know whose voice I really wanted to hear was Keith David.
Oh yeah,
that does Spawn. His
Spawn
voice,
and Goliath. From
my God, man, his voice is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no, it was cool. I wanted to start with if we can get some of the feminist, you know, stuff out the way. What did y'all see, man?
Who want to go first?
Well, let me see. As far as the feminist stuff, the first thing that I saw was the whole "I am Diana" Themyscira speech. Like
that was the first thing you saw.
The first thing that really annoyed me. Like, okay, we know who you are, man. Like, you're on Apokolips. Everybody knows who you are. Like, there's no bystanders out there. Like, what's the point of that? Like,
right?
No, that was the first thing I saw. Now, you guys might have saw something that I didn't see.
Yeah. Look, I made notes. You know what my second note on this page is? Girl power moments.
You got
bullet points for real. My very first one was Clark and Lois. And Clark is there with the League and talking shit. And then he got a radio back to Lois and let him know it's okay. Like, baby, I'm going to go start some shit and save the planet. Is it okay? And Lois gave him the Han Solo when he was like, I love you. And he was like
Solo, yes.
Like, yeah, I know. Like, super simp to the rescue.
Oh man. That you know who that reminded me of, and I know Valdez remembers that. Remind me of Patrice O'Neal, where he would talk about how Superman would be all it is, but who is he with? Just a regular chick,
regular human, whipped.
And she treated him like a sucker. She really did, man.
He was super. Oh
you know what? Patrice was a genius, because when they were talking about it, I can't remember if it was Patrice or one of the other guys, but they said Lo is
Right.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, man.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth though. That's why I liked the when they did the new 52 and they had Superman and Wonder Woman in a relationship.
Yep.
That made more sense to me.
Yeah.
It made more sense to me too.
Yeah.
It made
I
more sense to me
like
too.
that. They kind of did away with that, but I actually liked that when they had, when they was running with that.
Nah, because hardcore fans didn't feel it too much. For me, it's like I read Marvel and DC, so it makes perfect sense to me. He should have been with Lois anyway, because Lois a pain in the ass. Lois makes more sense being with Lex Luthor or Batman.
Yeah.
That's it. Because she's just running Superman. He man, how many times he get his ass beat about trying to save Lois' ass? Like, look, man,
And
she gonna get in
never was
trouble.
grateful. She'd never be grateful. Nothing. She just take it for granted. I'd be like, man.
Well, I mean, I gotta refer back to my man Cody on Mallrats.
Yeah.
Lois
Her womb.
able to have sex with Superman, like
Yeah, Brody Bruce. Brody Bruce. Dude. Her womb cannot handle that super sermon.
Like you said, that'd be like what's gonna happen when he climaxes? It'll be like a freaking shotgun blast
going off.
That's dead on, man. Because you know what I watched with my son a couple days ago. I watched the original 1978 Superman with Christopher Reeve, and then Superman 2, and he had to lose all his powers before he could get down with Lois.
Yeah,
before he can get down. Yeah,
that's a good point.
My God.
That's a good point.
Just on a side note, if you want to see how that plays out, read The Pro.
Oh damn, The Pro.
The Pro. It's a comic that came out back in like the 90s, and it was like a hooker who got superpowers.
I saw that. Wait, I saw that on like Facebook or something. I didn't know what this was.
Yeah, that shit was
animated
crazy.
Shorts.
It was a trade. It's a trade.
Oh,
we still have it on the shelf. It was a trade. I don't think we have it on the shelf right now. Because we always sell out of that book. People buy that book as soon as they see it. Like, oh, I heard about this. Yeah, we don't have it on the shelf right now.
They kind of did. They kind of did that with The Boys too.
Yeah.
Where the chick has sex with the guy where she's on his face and his head explodes or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, she crushes his head.
I hadn't seen it yet, and
they've done that a couple of different times.
And you just made me watch that, Valdez. I'm going to watch it now.
Hey, The Boys.
You gotta watch The Boys.
Yeah, you
got them hard.
You gotta watch it. But I forgot about that scene with like already when the movie started, already knew it was going somewhere it shouldn't go, because man, he's not like the offensive guy, he's the defensive guy. So we need to go and stop Darkseid once and for all. I'm like, okay, bro, you kind of getting outside your lane now.
Yeah,
that's not your thing, bro.
No, you supposed to say, "Hey, slow down, Hope. Slow down, Hope, man."
Yeah.
As soon as he started talking about doing covert assassin missions, I'm like, nah, bro, that's not you.
He had Lex.
That's Batman lane.
Lex was shook. Lex was like, "Wait, should we talk this out?"
Yeah, let's have a conversation about this, because it ain't like we just going to deal with some regular dude. This is one of the new gods. Like, this dude ain't no joke.
Right.
And Lex was simped out too. Lex was simped out.
He was. I never seen him like that.
He was like he was underperforming and groveling and shit like that. And said Lex would have been on some covert shit, especially after Earth fell. Lex would have been on some covert shit outright.
Right.
He wouldn't have been groveling to Batman. He'd been trying to fuck Batman over.
Exactly.
Unafraid.
I forgot about the other thing. That was the other part of the feminist shit that pissed me off. So you mean to tell me Harley Quinn survives, but the Joker didn't?
Thank you.
I was getting to that. That was another one.
Me too.
That was another one.
That
shit pissed me off. It's like, I said it just like you said it. I thought it when I saw it. I'm sitting there watching. It's like, so the Joker died?
Right.
Nah, bro.
Right.
Nah.
But that was tied to her new show, so they had to They had
I
to
don't
put
give
her
a
up
fuck what it was.
there.
That's
I
tied
agree.
to them trying to make Harley Quinn something that she is not, which is Deadpool. Stop that
Right.
shit.
They are shoving her down everybody's throat like it's
With a mallet.
happening.
Right.
Like he's not gonna be the female Deadpool. Like, just cut it out, man. Like,
No.
Then she was holding a hammer. I mean, the mallet, and she's singing a song in front of 3 soldiers with guns, and they wait for her to finish the song so she can hit each one of them with a mallet.
yeah,
Right.
I was like, okay.
But Batgirl, with all of her skills, gets taken out. Like, come on. Like,
She gets Batgirl gets ripped apart. Joker dies, but Harley Quinn is still alive, running around with a mallet.
We
get the fuck out of here. Look, that should have been the first person running around with no arm.
Yeah, we just got BGS in the building.
Teacher, salute.
Well, you know Harley Quinn represents the new Joker.
the slutty Quinn.
Well, yeah. So you know, what I'm saying is, you remember the what's his name's Joker that came from the humble beginnings, like the everyman.
Yeah,
they went mad. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to portray that energy through her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fuck. No, I ain't gonna.
You hardcore geeks. There you go.
See, you show up with your damn black pill, trying to ruin my nice little comic world with that bullshit. Put that damn pill away for a minute, man.
If anybody would have survived that whole situation, it would have been the Joker.
Should have been the Joker. Yeah,
should have been the Joker.
Because you know he's not because that type of death seems too much like justice. Like he's not.
Yeah,
he's the dude that's supposed to die in some kind of way. He's the guy that's trying to die
and still surviving.
Still survives.
But what people don't like is that the Harley everybody came to love was dysfunctional as hell, but she was codependent on the Joker. And so when you go back to that original 90s era cartoon, she was codependent as hell. And as much as people liked it, feminists could not have her staying codependent. So they made her this, Deadpool, like you said.
Mad
this is
Max
my giving
Fury,
a fuck face.
Mad Max Fury Road, man.
Feminist Road.
Yeah,
Feminist Road.
She's Professor Hulk. That's what that is. He is. Like, because look, the Hulk, Professor Hulk, that's when they kind of tone down, control him a little bit, where he's got more
control that toxicity.
Yeah, so he's not as strong as he was. They like Harley Quinn, her whole psychology of why she's crazy is part of it is because she's codependent on the Joker.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you take that away, it's like
you have.
It doesn't make any fucking sense,
But it's annoying to me, this whole agenda, because the first time we really see Lois, what's she doing? She's in a cage match fight with Harley.
Of course.
Yeah. It looked like a cool scene, but at the same time, it's like 2 years after the fall of Earth, y'all trying to rally forces together, and y'all having a fucking cage fight. What y'all betting on? What is this dumb shit about? I was like, this is just an establishing.
The male villains are cheering and betting in the audience.
Yeah,
and they're fighting, and I'm
this is the Thunderdome. This is Mad Max. In other words, the world has been destroyed. It's chaotic, and Lois needs to come in and actually get that cat with the Suicide Squad behind him. So you have to prove yourself. They get in the ring. Get in the Thunderdome and fight.
Yeah, which brings me to bullet point number 6.
Okay.
Femfest. Femfest.
Yeah, of course.
It's what I wrote down when I saw that. Femfest.
But the thing is, okay, there's 2 ways to do it. You can actually do it ham-handedly, or you can actually weave it into the story. Okay. Yeah. It's gonna have to be there. Okay. So the thing is, to keep you guys from going too far, left. You kind of weave it into the story and kind of soften it a little bit.
I like how you trying to soften that shit. Look, man, I don't
well, hey,
I don't need no tea right now.
Hey, I said it wasn't classic, but the thing is, it wasn't, how this is, it wasn't awful.
It wasn't awful, but it was predictable. It was
of
like
course.
one of the most predictable fucking tropes going in that shit. Outside of the fact that she showed up, she kicking Harley Quinn's ass, and Superman is out and get her, honey. Like, oh my god, did you make biscuits too? God, dang. And I'm not that big of a Superman fan either, but I'm just like, dude. That
Well, Professor Manhattan was a housewife. So,
man,
oh, dude, Dr. Manhattan was a blue dildo.
Why you do that?
Dr. Manhattan was a blue dildo.
Well, at least his dick got bigger, and
he gave her whatever she wanted. Omnipotent in the universe, but whatever you want to make you happy, baby.
Go ahead, Valdez.
You must want my head to explode.
hey, come on, today or this week? What is it?
I had successfully forgotten about Dr. Manhattan on that TV series.
Right.
On my brain. I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Look, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, he's Dr. Manhattan. Now some of the stuff makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a bittersweet moment because one, it's like Dr. Manhattan chose to look like a black guy. Awesome.
Yeah.
But a bitch ass black guy.
Right.
Yeah, of course. He's a concubine.
Right.
Come on,
and they have to fail.
Yeah, and
they have to fail. This is the first Dr. Manhattan we see just get eliminated.
Yeah.
But if you go back to Justice League,
I got a point on that. Yep.
You saw the Black Green Lantern. He gets just
eviscerated.
Mm-hmm. Who else? The Black Batman. Mm-hmm. You didn't even get to see him, but in the corner of the screen get wiped out.
Yeah.
That was it.
Point number 7 on my list.
The ultimate hero of the story was what's his name? That the black dude is actually got integrated as a robot.
Oh, Cyborg.
Cyborg was the hero of the story.
But nobody saw it.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah.
I personally was cheering for Darkseid because every time I see him, he's like Thanos. I always assume he's a black guy.
Yeah, exactly. I always assume Darkseid is a black dude too. They always pick a black man to play his voice too. Yep. And that's why I was having kind of an issue of how they was playing his ass, like his voice is wrong. He don't got that resonance.
They had a white redneck voice for Thanos, in Infinity War. Yeah, Josh Brolin. Yeah.
Come on, Josh Brolin is a Goonie, man. He got to be there. That's good.
There you go. I forget where I am. I forgot where I was.
Okay. He good. That's American old boy. He all right.
Yeah, all right.
His voice has that resonance like a black guy though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does.
Well, he's that's the redneck voice, man. Have you been in the bar?
That was Stone Cold. That was Stone Cold Steve Austin. What y'all talking about? That was Thanos 316 coming to the earth.
I'm sorry. As long as it's kind of hard for me not to look at that version of Thanos as a black guy because Suge Knight exists.
Yeah, exactly. Angry.
Only you got to make that
mixtape.
Like.
Only thing he was missing was a cigar, right?
Yeah, man. Nah. Let me see what else got on my nerves though.
So what didn't get on your nerves?
No, there was the Lois Lane fight. There was the whole what was the deal with King Shark?
I
was like, is King Shark female in this?
Yeah, because that was his ex.
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, Constantine kind of could go both ways or whatever he felt like. If I remember correctly.
I didn't know that.
I
was like, that's one of them British characters that Brits don't see that homosexuality the same way. They don't give a shit. They sleep with a dude and never be a thing to them, right?
I'll tell you something about
that
scene when he said, "Oh man, my ex." And I'm thinking, wait a minute, Harley, when the hell was that?
No, we knew it was
exactly.
because
that was the throw off.
The shark smile. Yeah.
Yeah, then we looked at the shark and the shark smiled, like
winked at him. Yeah.
Oh no.
Acknowledged it for a brief second and then just completely dismissed.
I assumed that the shark was a king shark was the the shark
dude
was a female.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to make that calculation in my head too, BGS, but it didn't make sense. So I just had to, you know how you mentally block something out?
Yeah.
You keep going. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know.
We'll deal with that later on the second watch. Yeah.
No.
I kept looking for breasts or something. I was like, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I saw that looked like the LGBT banner, the alphabet banner that threw up. It was like, okay, product placement.
Oh, yeah.
He winked. Okay, moving on.
Oh yeah.
Moving on.
That's check. That's on the checklist, right? Check.
Yeah, that's on the checklist. We got to make sure we check in every box.
That's up there with Wolverine and Cyclops.
Don't do that,
if
man.
you don't stop,
man. Don't do that.
You don't
man.
stop mentioning
Don't
that
do
shit,
man.
Dr.
Don't do
T,
that, man.
You gotta stop.
Don't do that,
man.
Doc. Don't do
You
that,
have a
Doc.
problem.
Hey, I'm not a geek, and I'm offended.
Yeah, you gotta stop.
I'm not
with
even
that.
a geek, man. I'm not even a geek like that, man.
Masculine hero
Man.
in 4 decades, and all of a sudden,
Wolverine is by far the most masculine dude in comic history.
That's
like
true.
I can remember watching the cartoon and wanting to emulate some of his behavior. Like,
Mhm.
man,
He's a raw savage.
Yeah, I am not recognizing that shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am not recognizing that shit.
Yeah.
I had to go back and read some more of my X-Men just because you said that shit. Like, what the fuck, dude? Please, no. Like, oh my god.
The only one that probably comes closest to him is probably Conan.
Yeah.
Yeah. That softened him a little bit too.
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch the original, like go back and watch the 90s X-Men cartoon just to
cleanse your palate.
Cleanse your palate.
Yeah, I forgot how awesome that cartoon was too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
They did a hell of a job in that cartoon.
That intro song is still classic.
Oh,
Yeah.
That guitar riff is just as soon as you hear it.
That's the thing for the X-Men, period. From then on. That's the thing for the X-Men.
Let me
I saw that cartoon they had before that. It wasn't as good.
No.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, content creators. Can I show clips with no sound, or how does it work? If I show,
just don't check the box. If you don't check the sound box, the sound won't come up.
So it's best to show stuff with no sound. Is that how it works?
It's up to
I don't know.
You can show it. You probably can show it without them.
Okay.
I will defer to BGS and Angryman because they use more clips than anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, y'all tell me. What's up, Angryman?
I think it's more music that they really go in on you about.
I can concur on the music part.
Yeah.
I don't know because every time I think I have it figured out, they throw a curveball. So
the AI gets smarter. It doesn't get dumber.
Yeah,
because you popular, my red fellow. Come on, dude.
Yeah, but I think on StreamYards it's fairly safe on StreamYards.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing I was showing the fight between Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku.
Oh, really? And it clipped you?
And they shut the whole stream down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You know why? That's Disney. Disney.
Oh, it is Disney.
And Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Disney, Warner Brothers don't be liking that shit.
Because I was trying to explain. I think I was talking about Anakin's character and his growth, right? From when he first fought Count Dooku. I showed the first scene where he rushed in and got his ass handed to him. And then I went to that scene to show how much control he had in the second scene and shit. I was playing the second scene and I kept rewinding it because the shit was so awesome. And then right in the middle of it is this whap. You can't show that. Like, come on, man.
But show too much.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's iffy when you start showing stuff.
Okay, then
you just got a clip you want to show or what?
Well, no. Well, honestly, it was when we started seeing the straight like carnage. That's the thing that blew me away because I never thought I'd see that ever. So
yeah. Now the cartoon way back in the day before the before the modern era, man, that was common. Blood and carnage and guts and stuff like that. And I think it's making a comeback. I think
metal.
I think the last Joker movie was actually bringing all that stuff back. Oh, but it's okay that she showed this kind of stuff.
But on a whole different level, I've never seen Black Manta get picked up and slowly torn apart, where his whole just ripped apart, spine hanging out.
Yeah,
I was like, between him and Aquaman's wife, Mara, I guess it was.
Yeah, Mara. Yeah,
she actually had her face ripped off. Like, I was like, damn.
Yeah, she got burnt and shit. That was fucked up. Well, that Manta scene though. Go ahead, BGS.
I was gonna say the King Shark biting heads off and stuff like that.
Oh man,
that was what you didn't think you'd see.
Nah.
Like they touched on it in the Suicide Escape from Arkham movie that they did. That it was bloody and it was a bit violent, but they cut certain scenes. But they just keep finding ways that they can push it, and they can push it further in animation. That's why animation for like doing Japanese anime can get away with a lot more shit than you can on live action, because it's animated. So most people, writing it off was just a cartoon. Like, nah, I've seen some shit that would rival live action movies. I mean, I've seen some shit worse than Saving Private Ryan taking the beach. Like, some messed up stuff in anime.
The thing but see, I'm gonna tell you something about the violence and the grittiness of it, the grotesqueness. It wasn't that really caught my attention. What caught my attention is the scenes where Superman was in the scenes and it didn't bother him.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I would think story-wise it's because I don't know how he made it back from Apokolips personally. But after seeing the Justice League get ripped to pieces like that, I think he'd be pretty desensitized at that point.
Yeah, and basically the billions of people actually being slaughtered, on your watch, and you can't do anything about it.
That's 2 years later.
That's why that's why he sent him back. Basically, he actually took his powers away, and basically what's going to hurt him worse to be the world's savior, and basically see your whole world destroyed right in front of you.
Yeah,
but
be a witness.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like, I kind of feel like they did this to sort of compete with Infinity.
I think the same.
Oh, come on, Angry. Come on, Angry.
Hell, have you ever seen Darkseid go up against the whole Justice League and just own their asses like that?
Yeah.
Oh man, brutally.
Yeah.
just
dismantle,
demolish their asses. You feel me?
Well, that was the thing that I'd heard about this whole deal, was that because the live action Justice League movies were kind of defunct, so they weren't going to get those other two movies that they were going to do. This was their way of trying to tell that story in a way that they could, because they're not getting no live action movies to expound on that shit. So they just took that and took it animated wise and ran with it. And they already know they do better with animated movies anyway.
Why is that, man? How come their live action movies kind of suck, but they're animated
different
comparison?
Yeah, Warner Brothers is weird. They so fucking nebulous at times with the TV and the movie, and the animation is so separate, and they do their own thing so much that DC hit their stride with their anime early because they found a style that works for them and they stuck to it. So if you look at their movies, graphically, they seem pretty much the same. It's like the same art crew drawing every one of these things. So it has the same kind of feel to it.
Right.
Marvel never did that. Marvel always treats their fucking animated features like one shots. Like, we'll use this company this time, and we'll use this company this time, and we'll tell the story about these two people. And it's like, yeah, but what the fuck? They're not trying to keep it good.
I think with Marvel, especially with Disney, the animated stuff is always geared toward children. And where the live action
Disney,
okay.
Before Disney.
Even before Disney, they all the Marvel stuff was actually geared toward children, whereas the live action stuff is geared toward adults.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is with DC when it comes to their live action movies.
Please do.
With the animated movies, they're sticking to the script. Like they'll take a comic book adaptation, turn it into an animated movie, and they'll try to stick as close to the source material as they possibly can. But when they make a movie, they always want to add their little bullshit to it and improvise and shit. And that's where they always go wrong. It's like, dude, we know what Batman is supposed to look like. We know how he's supposed to function. Same thing with Superman. These characters are old as dirt.
That's true.
Older than dirt.
Yeah. We know what they do. We know what they're like. At this point, they don't have to give us no freaking origin story. Everybody knows.
Not never.
Story. Yeah. Superman, Batman, all of them. They could literally just make a new Justice League movie, and they wouldn't have to introduce a single character. They could just make the movie, and the characters are already established.
Yeah, this is the cast, and just move on from that.
Yeah. Like for instance, I'll give you a prime example, and most people don't think this is a big deal, but I think it's a huge deal. You decide to make a movie that has the Flash in it.
Yeah.
He's a brunette. Why are you doing that? When we know the Flash is blonde, why are you doing that? Now,
because they have to pick which Flash they're doing. They have to decide.
Like if they're going with Barry Allen, that's a blonde dude. So when you do stuff like that, it fucks with the continuity. That everybody is used to. And so you're looking at the guys like, come on, man. Just because you pour syrup on shit ain't gonna make it pancakes. Just because you put a Flash costume on this dude, and then on top of that, I gotta say it. I'm nitpicking, but I gotta say it. What? Why does the Flash run that way? Real speed running that way.
But the worst was the last live action Justice movie. That Flash, the way he tried to run, I was like, "What is this?"
That's Olympics inspired. Yeah, that's Apollo Ono inspired. That's what their whole costume was.
Yeah,
it's like he training for the Olympics.
Then you got Batman doing shit that he would never do. Never. Always. So you got Batman saying things that's comic relief style stuff. Like he
don't make jokes.
He doesn't make jokes. So like when
Batman don't make jokes.
You talking about in Dark, the first Dark Justice League Dark?
No, in the live action Justice League movie.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the problem with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, it is.
Because Ben Affleck likes to ad lib.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck. I watched him in a bunch of Kevin Smith movies, and Kevin Smith always talks about this shit. You watch the outtakes. Ben Affleck always ad lib.
Yeah.
Always trying to be funny and ad libbing. That's just his part of his personality. It's a natural smartass. So it's always coming out.
And basically, if you're gonna use him in that role, okay, you're gonna have to let some of that come out because that's part of his aura.
And guess what? When it happens, you fuck the movie.
Well, the thing is, you shouldn't choose him.
The most stoic dude on the planet. He's going to.
He don't laugh.
Look, here's the thing. I was watching the Justice League movie, and there's a lot of awesome shit in it. They had something that could have potentially been great, right? The scene where Superman comes back and they all attack him. Flash takes off running, and it's in slow motion, and Superman's eyeball starts following him.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I've never seen in a movie ever, right? They even had the old Superman theme playing in the background. You could hear it, right? So like they all get into it. Batman shows up. He grabs Batman by the face and asks him if he bleeds, right? He tosses Batman away. First of all, you're not gonna get to grab Batman like that. You're gonna be pissed. And you know what I'm saying? So he tosses him to the ground. When he falls on the ground, he sits up and he said, I can't remember what he said. He said something that was sort of like comic-ish or whatever.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I can't remember what he said. It was something, not non-Batman. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And then, even at the end, when he was like, well, we got to stop this thing or whatever, he was like, Superman was like, well, I know you didn't bring me back because you like me.
Right.
Not like you like Batman.
Right.
Say that.
Nah, he's very direct. He doesn't do any of that.
When he said, well, I know you didn't bring back because you like me, he would have said, "Try and focus, Kent."
Right.
Get him back
but
on.
They
the
did
game.
that in the last Justice League Dark movie too. They had him being comedic because there's that point where they were like, you, "What is it? The house, the spirit of Constantine's house." She said something like, "You're the most dark, lonely creature." She said, "How do you bear it?" And he was like, "I have a butler." And it was like, oh, okay.
I missed that scene. I watched it and I missed it.
Blame it on Guardians of the Galaxy, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Comedy sells.
Comedy sells, yeah.
Comedy sells now.
Said that
comedy
we
sells
got
a lot
Guardians
now.
of the Galaxy, then we got Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
But it's also the thing they like to play against type.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, I can't as long as what's the director? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Taika Waititi.
I can't watch nothing else he does, man.
Don't watch that part of my show tomorrow.
Now he's doing the next Thor, right? He's doing the next Thor movie.
He's doing the next Thor movie.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. I said this the other day, a couple weeks ago. I said that the most prolific comic book character to date is Thanos, right?
Okay.
The main reason why I say that is because throughout both of those movies he was in, there isn't a single moment of comic relief in his speech. Nothing. Everything is
he stay on point.
Alpha. Yeah, straight out.
Not one damn joke as far as I can remember.
Nope.
Not one. Like when freaking Heimdall sent the Hulk away, he could have said some goofy shit like really, bro? Or some, but he was like, "You shouldn't have did that."
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with that, Valdez. He had a couple of things that could have worked as like straight up one-liners, but it wasn't delivered and it wasn't taken like that.
Yeah.
Like when he tells them in Infinity War what he'll do after he snaps and stuff like that, they say, "What do you do then?" He said, "I'll be a farmer." Well, that sounds like a fucking joke, but he was absolutely serious.
Yeah.
Right. Now the second one came in Endgame when he ran up on Scarlet Witch and she went through that whole soliloquy. "You took my love" and all the rest of that. And he's like, "I don't even know who you are." That was funny as shit. But he was absolutely serious. "I don't know who you are."
Or his classic line, "You should have gone for the head."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was comedy. That wasn't even comedy. That was just like, yeah, you right, you fucked up.
And when he read Iron Man, Thor, and Cap, he said you couldn't live with your failure, and I was just like,
man,
that was cool.
He was in their head, dude. He was in their head.
Oh man,
he was all in their head space.
Man, sitting down, chilling, saying it too. Just couldn't live with your failure.
Look, I've had debates with people about that scene. With guys that are more like Thor fans and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, when he was sitting there, he knew they were right there. He didn't go down there because they were shook.
Yeah, they waited
to go down that motherfucker. They
were.
They was like, yeah.
Hey, Valdez, and he knew too. That's why he was chilling there looking at him.
Thor's standing there looking at him. Now, look, here's the thing about Thor. Thor was shook, but he knew he was gonna have to fight him. So he's just standing looking like. So when Iron Man came, he said, "What's he been doing?" He's like, "Just sitting there."
Sitting there.
Sword stuck in the ground, helmet on the sword, chilling,
playing with rocks, sitting there chilling. It's like whatever.
That's the most gangster.
Because I know what
that was gangster. That was alpha shit.
That was alpha shit.
I know what you did.
That was some alpha shit.
Trying to steal my victory from me. Come on down
Come on down here. Come on down here and get this shit.
But he was so consistently alpha because there was a little moment where he brought Gamora a bowl of soup and he brought it to feed her, but he was such an alpha about the shit. It was just cool the whole time. I think she threw it or smacked it out. He just whatever.
Yeah,
fuck it, then don't eat.
Right. It just he didn't back up. He didn't qualify nothing. He just kept it pushing. And I love that portrayal of him because to me, I was like, that is an interesting portrayal of masculinity. And he doesn't apologize for nothing. He's unquestioningly himself in every situation.
Yeah, Killmonger was the same way too.
Yeah, Killmonger went in.
Yeah,
so like they're really good. I've been noticing they've been. I don't know what they're gonna do now, but they've been really good with most of their villains.
Right.
They've been getting better. They've been getting better with their villains because they've been listening.
They gotta be
they've been listening to the fans.
But it's interesting that the most masculine, unapologetically masculine characters have to be villains.
Oh yeah,
and all the masculine ones, at the very least, they have to question their masculinity, and then they have to defer to women. But the ones who are just like, no, this is what I'm gonna do.
You know what that's about, Dr. Tia-san. Come on, man.
Of course.
You lecture on this. You have to destroy that masculinity. What better way to get people on the side of cheering for the death of masculinity than to pour it all into the villain so you root for it to get washed away?
It backfired though.
Right.
It backfired. Likes the villain so much. They're like,
exactly. Exactly.
That's why the black boys that showed up at my door on Halloween dressed as Killmonger or Thanos, get extra candy, man.
Got that extra. You get out the special bowl. This got the full size candy in it. No snack size for you, sir. You deserve the man size portion.
Matter of fact, let me get my wallet real quick. Hold on.
Get you something for yourself and your homies.
You know what I mean? Just unapologetic masculinity, man.
Yeah,
but no, that. Let me see. I was trying to remember. There was something else that kind of irritated me, but I can't. I'm blanking on it at the moment. I was trying to remember what it was. I think it had to do with what's her name? Raven.
Raven,
Raven kind of took me back a little bit. So they had her father in the jewel in her face or whatnot, and I was trying to think about it. Something about it, it's not coming to me right now, but it had to do with Raven in that portrayal. But it slipped my mind.
The thing that was bothering me about Raven, I know about her whole little conflict with her father, but to me, that's another one of those, youth fighting against masculinity and hating your daddy kind of thing. That basically at the end of it, she left her father to possibly die. And he kind of thanked her for it because she was set free. But at the same time, she had the power to rein in all of him the whole time.
Yeah,
that was her whole thing.
I didn't get that. He's been sitting in that jewel forever talking about how he's going to get his revenge on her. And then gets set free. Of course, he's going to want to fight Darkseid because Darkseid is supposed to be a new god. So I guess God versus the devil or something like that.
Right. God versus a god. Yep.
And it's like, but why did he say it was a gift from his daughter? That didn't make sense to me.
Right.
I think it was a gift in the sense that when they released him that last time, they gave him like a body or something because that's what he had. He hadn't possessed anybody else at that point because when Darkseid trapped him, he was just still like a gaseous form. But Constantine and Raven working together, they did something. I don't know if they wished him into this realm completely or what the fuck they did, but they gave him basically his body and had him loose on this plane. So that's all he wanted. He just wanted really to be fucking free.
But I
free
think
of being imprisoned.
You just reminded me of what bothered me. I mean, granted, it was taking its toll on her, but she kept him in check the whole time. And then he comes out and beats the crap out of Darkseid. And I'm just like,
and sacrifices himself for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, that didn't make any sense to me.
It make no sense, man. It's almost like every time they do something, it's like the male characters, the only way they can be redeemed is if they sacrifice themselves for the sake of femininity.
Right. Right. But the female characters are also
Cyborg.
Oh God!
I'll get back to that. You touched on it, but I'm gonna get back to that point because that burned the shit out of me. Look, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, but the female characters are so much more powerful that they can kind of just handle everything. So she's walking around with this devil in her head for years, and she just kind of handles it. And then when she releases him, he destroys Apokolips damn near, and it's just like, really? So masculinity can just be checked that easily, but we
shackled.
Gotta
basically women are a vessel. Okay, so if you're going to put something in something, it would have to be in a vessel. It would have to be just like a genie in a bottle with a cork on it, and she happens to have the cork on it. So so until she bursts him out into reality, she's the vessel. So and
grumbling.
Yeah, you can grumble, but it is what it is.
Go listen to Dr. T over there, like,
yeah, but he can't argue with
it. Get his Wolverine on. Nah, he ain't arguing.
He can't argue with it. Okay.
I think, but it would be one thing if that was the only context. But when I see the same portrayals of female over male power displays and whatnot, it adds up. It becomes additive. It's like, all right, so the clear statement here is that men are inherently bad, but at the same time, they're morally deficient, they're inherently bad, and they're really weaker.
Okay, well, the thing is, okay, we're gonna look at it from an esoteric side. Basically, who is the gateway to the darkness? It's not on the male. That's the masculine. It's the female. It's
the feminine.
Okay, and the female is the gateway to the dark side. Okay, that femininity or the dark femininity, and your anima is the one that stands. It stands as the barrier between that overwhelming dark side or evil.
Yeah, your shadow.
Your shadow. And into the light, so it allows the masculine to actually, normally she uses her masculine to actually keep him in check, which is a little crystal.
But see,
which is the pineal gland.
But see, I get what you're saying, yes, but they've kind of threw us in the trick bag with the ideology because it's reversed. If women are the gateway to the darkness and to the chaos. Masculine is
the masculine is the control point, and guess who the control point was? Not her. It was what's his name? The
Damien,
Bruce Wayne's son.
Damien.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, the only way he could his death was the only way that the demon could be released.
But see, here's the thing though, like. Because the way they present it as if it's the feminine that's checking the masculine. Really, the masculine is supposed to keep the feminine in check.
Right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, but they reverse it, like they got it flipped around.
Well, the thing is that she's an intermediary because she's the vessel for her father.
But here's the problem. But here's the problem too. She also remains pure. Right, so somehow that which is being corked, which is masculine, is unquestionably evil, but she manages to remain pure. And when you look at the evil depiction of femininity in the film, which I think the closest would be Harley.
Yeah,
they're still presented as in a heroic form. So even if we talk about it esoterically, whether it's positive or negative, both can play that role. But the way we see it depicted, it's constantly female purity against male depravity, and that kind of remains. It doesn't allow for the multitude of expression.
Do you think the West, especially the West, especially white Western men, are really ready for purely evil females?
I think pure evil females have been kicking their ass for a good 4 or 5 decades.
Some breathe on me.
Here's the thing, though, because look, here's the interesting thing. Let's say, for argument's sake, let's swap out Harley with the Joker.
Okay.
Right? If the Joker had been in those scenes, I can bet you dollars to donuts that when he started killing people, Superman would have pulled him to the side on some.
You gotta stop this, Joker.
we can subdue them without killing them, but he didn't do that with Harley.
No,
he was going berserk.
Yeah, she was like straight up
with freaking mallets and shit, and that's what I notice in pretty much all cinema. Like the dudes have to be
restrained,
or restrained. But the women, it's like it's empowering for them to just kill everything. And
that's the programming.
That's the penis. That's the penis even because you have to. Because in their minds, especially women's minds, violence is true male power to them.
Yeah, right.
Not the control of violence in masculinity, amongst males, controlled violence. It's not willy-nilly violence is what is how you do masculinity, because any idiot can actually go out and wantonly start killing people. That doesn't make any sense. It's controlled violence, right? Women is violence for violence sake. That's because they believe that's what men do.
It's a bad parroting of how they conceptualize
masculinity.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because even those fight scenes with Lois and Harley, to me, that's the first thing I thought was penis envy.
Yeah, it was penis envy. Okay. Yeah. Basically, that's normally that is the way two men, or especially a man, actually gets jumped into a gang, right?
Right.
You got to get into. You either have to fight the biggest bully, or you got to get jumped. You got to prove
two alphas.
You got to prove that you belong, so that you get the recognition and respect of the crew, right? You got to get into. The nigga got hurt. He can swing. Okay, whether win or lose, right? So that basically you're actually mapping a male thing like Fight Club or something like that into two females. Otherwise, you couldn't put Lois Lane into that role without Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is actually there because of Lois Lane.
Right. That's why I say it was like one of the most predictable tropes, because it doesn't work in that sense. Lois wouldn't have went at the situation like that, and Harley shouldn't have been alive.
It should have been there. But
I see what you're saying.
So if you want Lois Lane, who is the femme fatale, in other words, the damsel in distress, to actually take on a more heroic or masculine role, you're going to have to. You have to make basically what they're doing is basically mapping on the male. Yeah, the male. You have to push her up. You're taking
masculinity.
You're taking the male, female. You're taking the male journey, right? Taking the male journey, heroic journey, and mapping it onto the female, just like you did with Aliens, and you actually mapped a masculine role onto a female.
But it diminishes, people's imagination about what's possible, because they don't explore what femininity could be in a context like that.
Well, they could have made her. It could have made her a Mary Sue.
Well, see, and I don't think that's feminine either.
No, I think they did. She didn't do anything that was outside of her physical ability to do something.
They didn't show.
No, they didn't. I'm just messing with you on that.
I mean, you guys are the geeks. I'm just saying what I saw.
No, they made her a Mary Sue. She was a Mary Sue.
Okay, how so? Okay,
you're not backing away from that.
I'm listening. I'm not a geek. You guys, I'm listening.
Because she did not have any vulnerabilities.
You're right about that.
We talking about Lois or Harley?
Talking about Lois and
Lois,
both of them.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Vulnerabilities. Like you look at when you watch that movie, right?
Okay.
You see Constantine's vulnerabilities because he didn't know that the chick put a spell on him to make him leave.
Zatanna.
He was struggling with that. You know, he's struggling from
mentally.
Even Etrigan was sitting there drinking himself. That's even possible.
Yeah.
You had
shout out to Etrigan, because I was liking him in that.
Yeah,
he was more fun.
You had all of the guys they showed their vulnerability. But the only chick that was showing any vulnerability was Raven.
Yeah,
but with Lois Lane and Harley, like there were no, like Lois Lane was just in complete control of everything all the way up to her death.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, and you know what?
She checked Superman. She checked Lex Luthor. She was just running everybody.
She was in complete control, and it's not the
she was the Superman.
The thing with the hero's journey is it doesn't really make her a Mary Sue if she's doing things that's out of her physical ability. That's just part of it. The biggest part of the Mary Sue thing is you have it all figured out and there's no room for improvement. You are a perfect form of yourself from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie.
Okay.
Right. That's
where the Mary Sue comes from, because at some point,
no struggle. Mess
up or whatever. There's no struggle. If there's no struggle, there's no growth.
Right. There's no struggle for her.
So she goes from reporter to guerrilla warrior with no problems all the way through.
Well,
within 2 years. Yeah.
Well, basically, she's had this history with Superman and being around these people, so it's not that we really need a backstory. So,
well,
it's not like she just came, just got thrown out of the Daily Planet, didn't know any of this stuff, and just came up magically with these abilities. No, she knew all these people.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. If you look at the backstory of all of these characters, at that level, the regular human level with no powers or anything like that, she'd never be able to beat Harley Quinn in a fight. Because
Harley doesn't have any
Harley Quinn.
She shouldn't have any
Harley. Yeah, but Harley Quinn goes up against the Bat family.
Yeah,
on a regular.
Harley Quinn is like a martial artist. Like, she can go up against Batman's crew and cause a problem for them. Like, there's no way that Lois Lane would be able to beat Harley in a fight. Like, the only person that could probably give Harley a run for her money as far as the chicks would be Black Canary.
Cheetah. Yeah, Black Canary.
Cheetah. What is Lex Luthor's assistant name? Marcy?
Mercy.
Mercy would fuck Harley Quinn up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mercy would.
But like,
Mercy would put a hurt on her.
Nah, Lois would. Lois is clever.
Yeah.
Well, but Harley. So we know Harley beat Nightwing right before she raped him. So for her,
whatever.
For her to fight Lois,
Did she rape him, or did Dick let that happen? Because I'm just saying, Dick is called Dick for a reason in the DC universe.
Oh Lord,
Dick got nothing.
That's a swinging Nightwing right there.
Oh, okay.
What makes Harley
that's the number one Batawang.
What makes Harley dangerous though is she's crazy. She'll do anything in a fight. She's not predictable, and that's what makes her dangerous. That's why she's a threat to the Bat family, because she's completely unpredictable. So fighting Lois, I can think that like
we know you have to have. It is a comic book. You have to have some kind of suspend.
But I'm gonna tell you
reality.
I'm gonna tell you what else bothered me about that little fight scene. Is right when the fight scene was over. What is it? I think it was Boomerang that kind of hit on both of them, or I forget which one he hit on.
He hit on Lois.
He hit on Lois, and then he gets. I think Harley hit him or kicked him out of the ring or whatever. But it was, when we talk about that female, masculinity. It wasn't even a consideration that a man could be of interest. Like, it was just get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was interesting.
He was talking about going down on her.
Yeah,
right.
He was talking about going down on her.
But from the way Lois is treating Superman to that display, it was like masculinity in and of itself had no appeal to this female masculinity kind of narrative. And maybe I took it too far, but that's just the impression.
Number 6.
You have to give some kind of you have to give some kind of creative license to some of this shit. You can't take it completely logically. Okay, you can't.
Well, I look at it in terms of I've been watching these things with my son since he was in diapers. And so I look at what are the ideas that that they're programming people with. And as far as masculinity, it's consistently under attack in major and minor ways at the same time.
You have to basically, as far as the feminist agenda, you have to, feminists actually want to dominate, but the thing is that's going too far. So now you kind of rein it back in to where, okay, we can be equal during, in certain aspects. So you're trying to get what they call equity instead of dominance. Like Mary was about dominance.
This is what happens. I'm gonna show you what happens with them doing that in television shows and movies. It's not just in a certain sector, it's everything. Everything does that, right? What happens is you have little girls growing girls growing up thinking they can kick every dude's ass on the planet. Right? So you have little boys growing up thinking that they can't kick nobody's ass, right?
Right.
When you get to adulthood and you have people enlist in the military and they say, hey, we might end up going to war with so-and-so. Dudes, you know, are gonna have a moralistic issue with that. Some of them. And then the chicks, you know what the chicks are gonna do? Their biological programming kicks in and they start making excuses for why they can't go to war.
Yeah, which is why the
I'm gonna break my arm.
Which is why the so-called feminist agenda, the second wave feminism, is having a crisis right now. Okay, because they're bumping right up against the biological imperatives in basically sexual abilities of these people, because this stuff is a lot more deep seated than they gave it credit for. So now, instead of saying that. Because in the feminist agenda, it's just like with gender, right? Nurture is supposed to be dominant over nature. And if 50 years later find out that basically, don't work that way, sister girl.
Well, here's the thing, BGS, and this is what's hilarious to me. It's hubris. It has to be human arrogance. Because how do you think
it's called white arrogance?
Yes.
How could a person
white supremacy
that they could circumvent hundreds of thousands of years,
billions of years,
together? Bioevolution.
Because, okay, if you go back to Adam Smith and the beginning of white liberalism, right? Or you go further back to Rousseau, back in the 17th century, man. These thoughts that the man's, I think, therefore I am. Yeah. In other words, that the human mind and human consciousness could actually overcome biology. In other words, the human mind and human consciousness is actually the construct that makes the real world, right? In their mind. So liberalism thought that if you train people in a certain way, you can actually bypass their biological instincts and biological functions, right? Guess what? In the 21st century, after 200 years, guess what? It doesn't work that way.
Hey, if a person, if somebody was to present the argument that a man's thinking can ride biology, I'd say go to a bar on a Saturday night and watch a bad chick walk past the dude, and you'll see right then and there that biology trumps all.
Phyllis Schlafly proved that basically in 1976 with the ERA. When they said, okay, bitches, you want equality, you're going to get drafted like everybody else. They said, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Back up.
And they're still running from that because that's still in discussion.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're here to have babies, So we're not here for all this equality shit when it comes to that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the inevitable direction. If you keep pushing this narrative, particularly in media, and you have a couple of generations of it, which is that there are no differences between males and females of any age, and anybody can do anything. Everything is everything. At some point, you're gonna hit this crash point, and you're right. This is where feminists are grappling with the reality versus the fabrication. And especially in the midst of this pandemic, where it became a question of, okay, we've been talking about independence, but now I need help.
Got quiet.
Well, the thing is that
got quiet
when it came to brain, their thing was, if you brainwash the males into thinking that they're lesser, they're thinking that they're subservient, then we could win. They never figured out that the women's biology would actually rise up and take precedence, right? Now, wait a minute. I don't want to be a dude. Okay. I don't want to go out there and fight. I don't want to take care of the family. I don't want to be the breadwinner. Okay. And I said, why not? Because I'm a woman. My biology tells me that I'm not supposed to do this shit. That's the problem that they're having. It's not from the male side. It's from the female side. So now they have to go back and brainwash all these females.
See, what the problem is?
It's the problem with brainwashing.
The problem is
you rotten motherfucker, you.
Not enough people in the world. Enough people in this world are comic book fans.
Okay.
The reason why I say
agreed,
because you could have learned that wouldn't have worked just by reading X-Men comics. How many times has Professor Xavier tried to suppress something in somebody's mind? It only makes
Jean Grey.
It only makes it worse. So if you try to program boys to think that they're less than, you know what I'm saying? Like, that masculinity, and I said this before.
Uh-huh.
I said male masculinity and just this shit is gonna come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's like anything in the point Angryman making is right. Anything that you repress comes back stronger. It doesn't just go away. It just sits in the corner and keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you finally have to fucking deal with it. And when that door finally opens up, you're gonna be sitting there drowning, talking about, oh, it's toxic masculinity. No, it's masculinity that you've repressed because the flow didn't stop. You might have put a kink in the hose, but it didn't stop the flow. The flow is still building up.
You're already seeing it right now with the huge number of young boys who play certain video games. The reason why they're playing these video games like Grand Theft Auto and all of these, if you look at the commonality of the game, they have the ability to do things in the game like, they can make money. They can barter and trade stuff. They can, if they're driving down the street and some dude is right there, they can get out and get into a fight with a dude. They can shoot. It's the only place, it's the only venue where they're allowed to be masculine.
Right.
You're right. And I've said that, Angryman, that especially with Grand Theft Auto, that it was an interesting psychological study to see how different guys played that game. Because some people would just ride. Some people would just be out there jacking people all day. Some people would be messing with chicks, but it was key to the person who was playing it. They played that game completely different. Although all these options of play are available, they would key in on one thing that they wanted to do, and that was the thing that they were missing in their real life. He was broke. He was always hustling.
It's like Red Dead Redemption. With Red Dead Redemption, when that game first came out, I think they hit a record of how many people bought that game.
Yep.
And there were guys on the game like, and I'm one of those guys.
I've seen it.
You getting in the bar fights and you hunt the animal, you kill it, you skin it, you throw it on the back of the horse, and then you go down to the market and you sell it. Like,
see, that was me.
Pleasure you get out of that, because it's a traditionally masculine thing to do those things.
So what happens if we have all of this, bottled up masculinity, and then we trip into the apocalypse where the economy has collapsed and it's straight up?
Where does
that go?
Dr. T, why you think I'm not looking forward to this shit? I know Angryman prepared. I know he good. He good. The angry compound is secure. Okay, the compound is secure. Okay,
he was born in darkness.
He was born in darkness.
I was born of this.
I was born of this.
I'm sitting in the dark with the rest of the dudes, just waiting to climb out of that hole like Bane.
Yeah. See,
he waiting for the wolves to actually take over.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like the motherfucker got a demon inside. Like, y'all don't want to let this motherfucker loose. Don't trip me to the dark side completely. I'm trying to hold the force at bay, motherfucker.
Civilization.
I'm standing in the breach. Don't fuck around.
Civilization is a very tenuous agreement, and
that's why I always love shows like that. Like just like that platform. What is that? It only takes an instant for you to go completely uncivilized from a civilized environment. It only take one instance. Because you don't know what that shit is. I don't want to actually see it. I can see it in a movie. I don't want to see it personally.
Turn into the goddamn Punisher.
I know you would, Mr. Black Pill.
That's the speech that the Joker was giving Batman in that interrogation room.
All it takes.
He said these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Exactly.
Literally,
what you think we're looking at? That's what we're looking at.
Just say like a week ago.
You said what?
And what Alex Jones said about a week ago about eating people. If you feed my children, I'll eat you. I'll eat your barbecue your ass.
The other movie that got me thinking about that was did y'all see The Mist?
Yes.
Oh when so he
Thomas Jane.
He said, let people not have their comforts. You know, take away their, you just see people get brutal.
Yeah.
Well, that
no rules. No more rules.
Start seeing it.
Because look, I kind of inadvertently predicted this shit was gonna happen. Last summer, I was sitting on my balcony and I was talking about how everything that we see out here that's modern and civilized, it's an illusion.
It's artificial.
Yeah.
It's artificial because you can look right across. Depending on where you live at, you can look right across the street and there'll be some woods over there. And I said the same shit that went on before all of this civilized shit, the pavement, the houses, that shit is still going on.
Still going on.
Yeah.
Still going on.
If you took all this shit from us, if you took electricity and all that from us, we would revert back to that shit so quick.
That's the end of Avengers, right? Where at the beginning of the end game, where you start to see, the plants growing back in over the city, whales are swimming in between the rivers. Yeah. You start to see nature taking over, and I think we saw that in After Earth with Will Smith, right?
You also saw it during, strangely enough, during the lockdown, right? When people were actually sheltered in place in the city,
California.
The animals started to come roam down the street and stuff like that, and started to come back into places where they hadn't been before. And
the pollution levels has dropped so dramatically low.
Right in the Bay Area, the water was clear for a while. I was like, oh shit! Like the water is blue. I said, yeah, it would be if I wasn't fucking it up so often. But okay.
Earth wouldn't blink. Earth wouldn't blink.
No, I always refer to George Carlin with that when the Earth get tired of us, it'll just shake us off like a surface irritation, and it'll heal itself. It'll be good.
That's a cold thought.
You got a rash? Okay, we can get rid of those.
I got fleas. Goddamn fleas on me.
Oh man.
On a movie or a documentary or something where there was a guy, he was flying over a certain area, talking about how when you're on a plane and you can look down at the surface and you see the cities, and outside of the cities you see the green forest and stuff. He said the city looks like a scar. The same way on your skin you could have a scar. It looks like a scar on the earth or whatever.
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. That's interesting, especially when you think about that conversation that Mr. Smith had with Morpheus.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
Yeah, that was a real conversation. I actually enjoyed that. That we are a plague or like a cancer.
Yeah,
and the only way we can survive is by moving to another place and repeating the cycle over again. And that's what the Matrix did. Corrected that process that you didn't get to keep moving to place and fucking it up. Well, that was the part Angryman from that last Fantastic Four movie with Dr. Doom. That was his whole point. He knew humans would fuck up things that they moved to, and he didn't want them to come to that negative zone. So what did he say? Okay, well, I'm gonna pull this shit through this portal, so you can't come here and do the same things you did here on Earth in this new place that I have. Nope, not having it. That was it.
Look, Don 007, he actually said something really interesting. He said, Dr. T, please rewatch After Earth. Will Smith dropped a lot of red pill in that movie. We love it.
Yeah, he did.
Look, Will Smith got punished for that movie.
And he did. We're in agreement on that. He got hell. Him and M. Night.
That movie.
Yeah.
For putting out that movie. I think he got punished because they were on some, you want to make a positive black father-son movie? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but ever since then, every movie he's in, he got a white daddy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he did two Angryman. He did After Earth, which could have been a red pill movie, but then he did Pursuit of Happiness. That's two movies where a black man is actually doing something with his son. Right. Actually really trying to train his son. But After Earth was that one that he really went hard in the paint for that shit. He been getting punished since then for that shit.
Yeah. I've been showing clips of that in my class for years because the stuff he did on fear, just the stuff on fear alone was ridiculous. The difference between reality and fear and that whole narrative he took his son through. I was like, that's manhood training 101 right there.
Exactly. That's why you never see that movie.
In a film.
Yeah, for a while they wouldn't put him in movies, and then when they did put him in a movie, they put him in that movie where he was a con artist.
Yeah,
with the white chick.
Daddy in that movie. Then Gemini Man, he didn't have a white daddy, but when he got cloned, his clone had a white father.
Yep.
Okay. Was that one worth watching? I didn't watch it.
It was interesting. I watched it. was interesting.
It's worth checking out.
Okay.
I mean, that's like it's him and it's Ang Lee. So it's two people that's been being punished,
Yeah.
trying to gain some redemption.
Yeah. I will say this: it is, a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it because it did kind of deal with the father-son dynamic a little bit.
Okay.
So it did have some moments in it that was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember Angryman. Do you remember if you saw the Overbrook on that one or not? Because I don't think that movie came through his company. That's just a movie that he was in. I don't think it came through his company.
I don't think so.
Because that's what they were trying to do with that shit. When they was punishing him, they was trying to stop that whole Black Dynasty shit from happening with him and his kids and his wife and stuff like that. They was making too much money, and them folks in Hollywood was not liking that shit.
Yeah.
And you preaching some Black empowerment father messages? Oh hell no! Look,
yeah, they put the brakes on that shit.
Man, they put the kibosh on that motherfucker.
And it was so underrated at the time. I hesitated to see it because nobody seemed like they were watching it. And then I moved around and watched it and was like, damn.
That shit was awesome. My son told me to watch that movie because he saw it before me. He said, "Dad, you gotta watch this movie. This is hell awesome." Okay. I'll check it out. My son was sold on it before I was.
Well, the movie personifies the father-son dynamic.
Yes.
I can say that for a fact because some of the stuff he was dealing with in that movie with his son, I've had to deal with my son.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
And that was in terms of like you talking about what would be an example
as far as like, well, one, the hard-headedness of your son not wanting to listen to you and your guidance.
Right.
That was one part of it. It's a few things. There's a few things in there.
Mm-hmm.
My one thing was that stuck out the most is that the son trying to live up to the father's expectations, but the father never really had that expectation of him.
Right.
The father knew who he was and what he had to become to do what he did, but he did not necessarily want that for his son. That's why he said you weren't ready. His father was cut off from his emotions and everything else, but he did that because he had to be. He didn't want that for his son, but his son thought that's what he needed to do. He had to teach him that, look, you can go your own way, but this is one of these trials in manhood you have to get through. You have to conquer your fears. You have to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And not to be like me, just to be yourself.
Just to be a man.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to conquer those things. Absolutely. And the whole push for respect from one's father. I recently saw something else that kind of touched on that as well. And the way fathers navigate that, but seeing sons try to actually earn their father's approval, right? Mm-hmm. And the way fathers actually can use that to kind of build up their sons. But a lot of times in movies, they just kind of portray, these fathers as heartless and don't care and
one-dimensional.
That's not what it is. But you're trying to use what you can to get your son to a point where he's self-sustaining. Because that's how I view, my role as a father. My job is to prepare you for the world.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And once you're at that point, I've done my job. I could die the next day. I've done my job. As long as you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or you need to depend on me because I haven't done what I need to prepare you. I've failed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so those films are important to me as long as they push that, which I think we talked about this before. I even saw elements of that in Power.
Yeah.
You
trying to transition to a mentor role rather than a parent.
Yeah.
I think same thing that happened in The Godfather, right? When Michael took over the family and his father became his consigliere, in other words, his advisor.
Changing of the role.
Changing of the roles because you shift from caretaker to advisor to from caretaker and mentor to advisor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trend, and normally it is not completed till the boy gets like 30 years old, and all of a sudden all the bullshit that your father was telling you that thought he was trying to hold you back when you hit that circumstance, you run across, they say, oh, I remember when Pops told me about this. Oh yeah. I remember when he was trying to, well, when it comes to women, when it comes to children, when it comes to life. I remember Pops was telling me about this.
Right.
See, that's the fun part, BGS, because I get that with my son now, because there was a lot of instances that we had difficulty dealing with his mom or whatever just in life. And I told him, I said, look, when you get older, I hated hearing this when I was your age, but when you get older, you'll understand it. We'll have this conversation again.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I get from him is when he hits those points and then he says, I know what you were talking about then now, Dad.
Right.
Good. Then I did something. You know,
Right.
Regardless of what you thought at the time, because you thought I was being an asshole, and I probably was, because I needed to be an asshole.
Yeah,
that's why you learn that lesson.
Yeah, that's why you're not fully grown. And even going back to Judaism, right? You're not fully grown till you're 33 years old.
Right.
You're not fully grown, even though you're a male. You become a man at 13, but for you become a real man, a fully grown man, not till 20 years later.
Yeah, I've told people that, BGS, I said, if you don't understand why your father did what he did, then you haven't grown up yet.
Yeah.
Because you haven't hit that level of maturity where you understand what it takes to actually be a man.
Yeah.
If you still running around and he was an asshole, then come back to me and talk to me when you've actually had kids so you understand.
I think we did. I think when Angryman, me and Angryman actually counseled this young guy. I think like 21 or 22, called Joe, and he was going through this thing because his mom had I think remarried, and a lot of stuff he was saying he didn't understand. I said, well, didn't you talk to your father? He said, yeah, but I thought he was an asshole.
Wow.
And then until now, he's running across exactly what he's talking about, what his father is trying to tell him.
Exactly. I said I was there. I heard that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I threw that in the chat. It's like you need to talk to him.
You need to talk to him.
Tell her.
Even what Patrice O'Neill dropped into that too. Another aspect of manhood is understanding that your mother was your father's woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's a level right there that takes a lot of men to sometimes their mid-30s before they wrap their head around.
Until you run into that woman, until you hit that realization that the same shit that your bitch is telling you, the same thing that your mama that your father told you that your mama said.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't believe it until that woman does the exact same thing that your father was trying to say that your mama did. Like my brother said when he got 30, he said, I finally realized that there was a black woman actually masquerading as my mother.
Damn.
Look, I just had that conversation. I just revisited the whole conversation with my sons the other day. I just revisited that conversation. It started out with me. Well, I had the conversation with their mother because just like with all the rest of these chicks, I started getting all of the I saw your potential and you was a good dude text messages because of this COVID shit, right?
You too?
Yeah. So I called her and I felt like this was finally going to be the moment where I got some vindication, where I could actually
silly you
thing that she did and she actually acknowledge it, right?
Silly you.
Yeah, very silly. I got her halfway there. This is the most I could get out of her, right? Yo, you said a lot of things to them that caused them to have anger and animosity towards me that wasn't true. The closest thing that she got to admitting it was saying they don't remember that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, yes, they do. I said, yes, they do. She's like, they don't remember that. And she hit me with the past is the past. They're good kids.
So no accountability.
It shouldn't matter now because you're struggling now. They're good and they're intelligent and they're. So I said, okay, whatever. Man.
She got Rafiki's stick and hit her upside the head.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with her and stuff. So the other day, like my second oldest, he was at his grandmother's house, and I had went and got him. So now all three of them are here.
Okay.
So I had to have the little family meeting where I break down what they need to be doing and all of that good stuff. So in that conversation, we went into the conversation. I said, look, a lot of stuff was probably said about me. I said, your mother probably told you that y'all was up there struggling and down here living it up.
Yeah.
You were here struggling with your mother. I was down here struggling. I said there's been times I've sacrificed for you guys. I've given my last dollar for stuff that you need. And I guarantee you there's probably times that you got stuff from me and you didn't even know it was from me because she probably said it was from her.
Been there.
Wow.
Yep. Been there.
Wow.
Stay there.
What you need to understand is this. I said, look, you were never abandoned. So don't think that. You were never abandoned. I was in a relationship with your mother. We could not get along. And rather than be in that relationship where you're seeing us fight all the time, which is going to cause more dysfunction, I left that situation. So now that, I'm in a better position, I'm able to do more, but don't think it was like this always and you were abandoned. And I was just sitting down here like, I'm not going to do shit for them. And so I'm explaining this to them. And I said, and I know your mother said stuff to you, but she thinks you don't remember any of it.
Wow.
Wow. And all three of them said yes.
Yeah.
Remember all of it.
See, Angryman, that's the interesting thing. I've seen that in my personal life. Just with my two kids, the stuff that my son was told about me, I had to sit down and not even damage control, just reframe the narrative that Dr. THasan would say. It's like, look, motherfucker, that's not the situation. I had to get bare bones and graphic with how the hell he was conceived and how it happened, just so he no, we wasn't no family together. I just walked out on your mama. That was never the situation. Your mama was 19, 20 years old staying with her parents. How the hell was we living together? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you know what I told him? Because all my kids actually came up with that. I said, you really want to know the real story about your mother? Are you ready for that?
I just told him.
If you're ready,
I just told him.
I said, if you're ready, I let him have the choice. You really want to know the truth about your mother? If you're ready for that, we have that conversation.
Right.
All of them, guess what they did? They shed that little Denzel, that one little Denzel tear.
that Native American tear.
Yeah, one little Denzel tear, and they said, "No, I don't want to know." And
they see, I never wanted to have to wait, because that's the hardest part. The hardest part would be to keep doing what I'm doing, knowing what I'm struggling through, knowing what the difficulties I'm having with this person or whatever the fuck, and what they put me through. Hold all that shit to myself and hope that my child, by the time they hit 20 or get to some age of realization, that they come back and actually want the real story. To me, that was too much of a fucking gamble.
The thing is,
because some of my homeboys said, no, that's what you do. You just let them get older and then they'll come back to you and figure it out. I said, no, that shit don't work like that.
At the end of the day, I tell my kids, if because at the end of the day, your life is your life. If you figure the shit out, fine. If you don't figure the shit out, fine. At the end of the day, that's on you. Okay. Now when you have to go through the same shit, then you actually realize that everything that mama said wasn't true, and what daddy was saying was actually correct. Okay. But they're not gonna believe it until they go through it. Because I didn't believe it till I went through it.
My son didn't believe it till his mother went off on him like she used to go off on me. He said, Dad, she was cussing at me and called me this, that, and the other. I said, sounds familiar, son. You know how I know that? You know how I know that, right?
And then he laughed. So he get that look. I said, okay, all right.
Sound like y'all was dating.
That's what Patrice meant. And some of us are more mature. Some of us get it earlier. Some of us get it later. I didn't get it until I was married. And then it was like, okay. And then I could actually have what I would consider my first real conversation with both my mother and my father, where I can actually understand now as a man who had a wife. Okay, now tell me what happened. And I understood everything she said and didn't say, and everything my father said. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Dr. Johnson, I didn't get the whole story, a part of it, until I sat down, made my father dinner. I was married, had my wife, made my father dinner. I had never sat at the table with him as an adult and had a meal. Made dinner, had him come over and sat down and got the story of just how he even met my mother. She held back all that information. She held back all of that shit. It was like a void.
Wow.
Well, with my parents will not ever be in the same room again.
I got something for that, Angry.
I know what you mean, Valdez, because my kids asked me, how come you didn't stay with their mother, right? That's because I wanted her to live.
Don't cross the streams. Don't cross the streams.
Like, and I told my son that. I said, look, I said, you saw your grandfather down here. I said, and you've seen your grandmother. We'll never be in the same room together. You'll never see them in the same room. I said, now I can get along with your mother to a degree, to where I can actually be around her and it not be a problem. I said, I'll never experience that. I said, if you noticed, I said the week that my father was here, y'all saw him here, and we went to the grocery store and he needed some food and he wanted to get some food and stuff, and I wouldn't let him buy it. I bought it. I said that same day, my mother said something about needing a microwave. She had called me on the phone, and I got her a microwave, and I told my other son, I said, when we stopped by there, what were we doing? He's like, oh yeah, I remember she wanted me to set the microwave up for her, like take it out of the box and put it on the counter and everything. I said, what you see is me dealing with two people that don't really like each other, but I don't allow them to pull me in it. I said, so what y'all need to understand is when your mother says anything about me or something like that, you're supposed to do what I do, which is, look, that's between you and him.
Between y'all.
Equally, I don't got nothing to do with y'all's conflict. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My daughter figured that out.
I actually had a breakthrough with my second oldest. He always took it really bad, right? So I finally had a breakthrough with him because I'm talking to him about it. And I said this to him, and I thought it was really important to say it to him. I said, look, I was down here struggling, doing bad. I said, don't think that there was ever a time where you needed something. I was just like, I'm not going to give them nothing, right? Because I know she made it appear that way. And he said, well, I understand now because now I know what it's like to be down to my last, right? Because he was up at his grandmother's house, and I said, and my girl was like, what do you mean down to your last? Why you didn't ask your father? I said, because he was up there at his grandmother's house, and he probably was too proud to ask me for anything. And he was like, yeah. And so I'm telling him, I said, look, bro, there's things that you said in the past when you were younger. So like one time you got on the phone and you said some little disrespectful shit. And I know it was gassed up by your mother. And he was like, well, Dad, I understand now. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like one thing I said, he said he didn't remember saying that. Okay. And I think say that. Even his brother was like, yeah, I remember when you said that, right?
Family.
No cover. No cover.
Yeah, family. Yeah, oh, y'all bullshit.
You know how you hear your ex's voice through your son?
Oh, God.
You hear they talking points. Yeah.
Oh,
you would hear they talking points.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
And I dealt with it back then. I handled it back then, but I told him in our conversation recently, I said, bro, I want you to know something. When you said what you said about me, I said, that hurt me. Yeah. I said, I'm your father. And look, I've never abandoned you. I care about y'all. I've given y'all my last on more than one occasion, and my girl even said, she even came out, she co-signed it. She was like, yeah, y'all don't realize, but there were times that your mother would ask him for money and he would go to Western Union to send the money, and he didn't even have enough to pay the fee to send it. Yeah. So like I would pay the fee, and like he would basically pull out all his money, rabbit ears, and send it to y'all. So he was sitting there looking, and he's like, and I told him, I said, and this is serious. Like, you hurt me. I said, and trust me, you don't ever want to be in a position to where you're an adult, you care about your kids, you can't really be around them because of certain circumstances, and then they get this perception from the other parent. Yes, it makes it seem like you don't give a shit about them when you care about them.
I will painfully co-sign that shit.
Yeah. I remember that with my own father, man, because I remember my parents got divorced when I was about 5, and I remember the going statement was that my father was living it up, and he wasn't contributing. And I remember the one time I got to visit him. My sister's about 3 years younger. It's just the two of us. We went to visit him, and he had this really small apartment that had like a couch and pretty much a bed. That was it. And he had a cat. and he had to leave the window open for the cat to go in and out because he would be gone for weeks at a time trucking to make money. But the trucking industry in the early 80s was so bad that the last time he came back from a trip, he owed the trucking company money.
Yeah.
He wasn't making anything. Matter of fact, his father, my grandfather explained to him, you would make more money working at McDonald's than being a trucker at that time. And so, but the only narrative I got was he was living it up, doing his thing and not contributing. He had an empty refrigerator, a cat that he barely saw, and a bed and a couch. That's what I remember. And I'm like, wow.
And that's the realization that I came to as well. Like with my father, it wasn't like what most guys go through where the father isn't there and you stay with your mother. Like my father left me with my grandmother. And he was going here, going there, whatever. And, I felt some type of way about that when I was younger. But then when I got older and went through my bullshit, I said, you know what? I can't be upset with him because all he ever did was work. That's all he did. You know what I'm saying? All he ever did was work his ass off. And I'm pretty sure there were times where he probably wanted to come see me, but you know how it is when you're trying to handle your business and you're trying to do this and you're trying to figure it out. So once I finally came to that conclusion, it's like all of the animosity that I used to have, it just vanished. It just disappeared or whatever.
I had that.
I thought about it too. This is the other thing I thought about too. And a lot of guys that's watching this, you need to think about this too, especially if you got sons. You might want to forgive your father because sooner or later you might need to be forgiven.
You will need
you will need to be forgiven more than once, probably.
Yeah. That but yeah, I had to have that whole conversation. And the crazy thing is, she genuinely thinks she didn't do anything wrong.
She knows. She knows.
Yes,
that's a lie. You knew it was a lie when it came out of her mouth, man.
Look, I was breaking down my second son, like how he don't be wanting to listen and shit. And she was like, he does that to me too. I said, I guess so. You created him, Dr.
But that's, a lot of that, what you're saying right now, Valdez, this is why I wrote this piece that BGS was kind enough to read on his channel a while back, this piece here. This is a piece that was dedicated to my god brother, because he and I both, our fathers were both, kind of gone. We saw them occasionally, but we didn't grow up with them. And really what I thought about was, all right, I'm 45. I'm 40. I think at the time I wrote this, I might have been 44, but I'm like, at some point, I'm walking in my father's shoes.
Yeah.
Let me go back, because we were the, Generation X, we were the Tupac generation. We heard all of the songs about how angry we were with our fathers. But when I stepped back into it as a grown man with kids who've been married, who's had relationships that are broken up, who's watched, women tear up your stuff, whatever. I'm like, let me revisit my father at that time, and let me see. And when I really started to look at the stuff that he was dealing with, that black men at that age were dealing with in the 70s, they got hit with a variety of things at the same time that no group of men could fathom. And that's why so many of us could meet and had the same damn stories. But we were just told we had the same stories because men were inherently trifling, rather than they were a product of a cross-section of things that hit at the same time. From divorce to child support, you name it. And it produced the same reality across Black America. So when I sat down I started by sitting down with my father's best friend. That's my godfather, my godbrother's father. We sat down and I told him all the stuff we talk about, from red pill to black male studies. I sat down and told him that stuff, and he got real quiet. And he was like, I didn't think, my son's generation, I didn't think any of y'all would ever figure that out. And he was like, and I didn't have the vocabulary to say it, because they lived it. They didn't study it. They lived it. I studied it, and so when I said it, he got real quiet. He was like, he was like, I didn't know how to say that, but I didn't think your generation would ever figure that out. And by the time I sat down with my father and explained this stuff, he was like, And that was when he opened the door and started talking to me about stuff that he never would prior to that. You know, just about, and I was giving him the vocabulary to explain shit that he didn't understand that he'd gone through. And it opened up a whole nother door, man. So, this is why, I love y'all's work so much, because the doors you're opening and you've been opening for years now, I don't really think y'all appreciate how much you're doing.
Yeah, because I think that you put a piece by Dr. Martin Luther King about the black men in, say, in the 50s and 60s, right? And the press, the anger that they carried because of this racist society. If like my father, right? He was always angry.
Yeah,
he was always angry. And I think one time we were having a powwow, right? And he actually got frustrated, said, "I'm just a nigga," And I didn't understand it at the time, because I said, "You're not just a nigga," but I didn't understand it until that quote from Dr. King, and said, "Okay, now I have to say we have to go back and revisit that angry father, just like in the Fences, okay?" Because you try to bottle up all that anger because you've been so actually put upon. Like my father, he had to go to work when he's like 12 or 13 years old. Basically, he had to drop out of school in middle school to actually go to work make money for the family. So he had his advancement as far as education, anything else, man, it was actually put on hold, actually stunted. And he was angry that the white society had put that upon black men. And a lot of the we talk about the upwardly mobile boule that actually have all these letters and stuff like that, the black excellence, right? When I talk about the 90% of black men that were actually under that, man, they actually put upon by that system, man, and we had carried that fucking anger, man. And like I said, sometimes that anger came out on the family.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So we had all the stuff that he did, all that anger and stuff, like some of the whippings that I got. I said, okay, now I get it. Okay.
Right. Which is the importance of these dialogues. There's a show I did a couple of episodes ago that was called "Are You Trying to Kill Me?"
Oh,
and I was dealing with violence. But this is why I got to shout Valdez out, because I forgot to mention at the beginning of that show that title came from him, and it came from you did a show a while back. And I commented on the show. You read my comment because I said, "Do you know how many men you're helping right now?"
Yeah, I remember that.
You told the story about your woman following you around, yelling at you, and I think you were saying I may have been projecting on some of this, so correct me. But you were like you were having help responses to the argument, and she was following you from room to room.
Yeah.
When you said that, not only did you
palpitating,
gave me a perspective on what I've gone through, you gave me permission. I teared the fuck up because I've been through that. Following me into each room, yelling, and you asked the question at the end of that. You said, "Are you trying to kill me?"
Yeah.
I didn't even have the words to ask the question. I was just so confused. Like, you see me clutching my chest, going from room to room to escape you, and you're following me and yelling at me about nothing of importance. I didn't even have the words to say, "Are you trying to kill me?" So I wanted to say, for the record, one, I apologize for not mentioning that, and I emailed him right after that show because I realized I didn't say it. But two, that shit blew me away. It blew me away because you gave us permission to actually not only talk about it, but to recognize the shit that we're not supposed to talk about in any other space.
Right.
That's what hit me so hard. I was like, how do you process that the woman laying next to you is trying to kill you? And look at it as a demonstration of strength that she can have an impact on you in any kind of way and not care about the repercussion.
And all of it was in front of the children. And
always in front of the children.
We were in the last apartment that me and her had together before we broke up. When we first got there, I didn't have like a regular job. I had like a couple of little businesses that I would do, and I had a friend. He had a moving company, so I would make my money doing those things. And she used to complain about the fact that she couldn't find a job. So I helped her start like this little hair braiding business.
Okay.
And she was making decent money. I would make flyers for her, go around and put the flyers in the hair beauty supply stores and post ads on Craigslist for her. She was making decent money. It got to the point where there were even guys that owned salons that were calling her, wanting her to be a partner with them and have like set up booths in their salon for hair braiding, right? And this is when I found out that some people not only are afraid of success, but they will fight against it.
Yes.
Because when that started happening, when it looked like it was like, okay, things are about to open up, she would get into these arguments with me they would just come out of nowhere. Full-blown arguments, right? There was even one argument where we got this big argument or whatever, and I left the apartment, and when I came back, she was gone. Kids was gone too. Wow. I didn't even know where the hell they were at, right?
Yeah.
And I went to my friend's house. I went to my friend's mother's house, and I asked her about it, and she said, I haven't seen him or whatever. And then come to find out later, when she came back, because she was gone for like a week, she had went to a battered woman shelter.
Wow.
And my friend's mother was the one that took her, the one that I actually asked. Wow. And wouldn't tell me. I'm sitting there worried about my children, and she wouldn't even tell me, right? And just to show you how much they stick together, I knew his mother. This is one of my best friends. I've known him and his mother since I was freaking 18 years old. So they didn't meet my kid's mother until, we were in our 20s. So she knew me long before she knew her.
Wow.
And I'm like, how are you not to tell me, and so when they came back, I asked her, I said, well, why'd you come back? And she said, because she was in there and there was a woman in there whose boyfriend had cut her throat.
Wow.
From ear to ear. And she was in there. She said she was in there talking about how she missed her boyfriend. She said it was at that moment she felt how stupid she was because there was nothing nowhere near to that degree going on.
Right.
And so like it kept going, right? There kept being little goofy arguments and stuff. And one day it was an argument that had lasted for like 3 hours. And I'm just trying to like, look, what are you talking about? We're doing this because of this and this, all of these different things, right? And she literally was just walking behind me. And I passed by the kids' room. I went in the room and I literally laid down. I literally laid down on the floor because my chest was hurting. The kids were in there trying to play. It was her 2 daughters and my boys. They were literally in there playing. And they was asking me what's wrong. And I'm just telling them it's okay, it's okay. She's still standing there. And I'm like, oh, leave me alone. Are you trying to kill me? Wow. And it was, after that, that's when I like made up my mind. I was like, okay, we can't go together no more.
Yeah, it's time to go. Yep. You're gonna hit that last time, and you're gonna say, you know what? You're gonna get the that hood, that Jedi hood. I'm a mother now.
So that was the ex-wife. That was the ex-wife out in public trying to swing on me and hit on me and stuff like that, trying to get me fucked up with some damn police. And I'm like, you like 100 pounds. What the fuck is wrong with you? Calm the fuck down. She didn't give a shit. She was trying to put on the show. She was trying to get me fucking arrested. She was trying to have cops show up and get me fucking arrested.
Because you're a black man,
and sure enough, when we split, that was what she used. That's what she used for the set that she got with, and that's what she told everybody else. And that's why Angryman can attest to this. That's why I ain't on Facebook like that. I got a page, but I ain't on there. You know why? Because of that separation shit. She went on a Facebook DM raping of my personal image on Facebook. That's why I ain't on there like that.
You look a couple.
I'd stay away from that shit for years because of that.
Say hello to the bad guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's what it was. BGS. Like you put out that video about cutting the grass so the snakes would show.
Yeah.
That was my whole fucking 2013, 2014. Was seeing how many people fed into that bullshit. People have known me for 20 years before they ever knew her, like Angryman was saying. You have known me forever, since elementary school. You believing that I'm beating up on this little 90-pound chick at 200 and something pounds and muscle? And she ain't dead? Y'all tripping.
I'm beating up on her. I said, I didn't, but you know what? Since I'm taking the blame, I should have.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what how I was feeling. It's like, you know what? I should have put her ass through a fucking wall. Yeah, should have put her through a wall. Then you would have had something to blame me for, because I don't have a problem taking the blame for shit I actually did. But if I ain't did it, don't be saying I did some shit I didn't do.
Remember that Deadpool when the what's his name? The Juggernaut was locked up in that container.
Yeah.
That's how.
Look, and that was the thing that I realized too, like with my homeboy's mother, like for her to withhold that information from me, she believed it. Like she,
my homeboy,
she genuinely believed it, and I'm like, there was a time on Facebook where I systematically went through, and I had already blocked my kid's mother. I went through and I blocked every person that was in her family and every person that was connected to her, so they couldn't see my Facebook page in my business,
Right. Nah, this is what these motherfuckers did for me, Angry Man, because mind you, I'm the evil black man who's done nothing but work and try to have a family and be married and do all that decent blue pill shit, right? These motherfuckers block me, but they still want to see my shit. All of them block me, but they want to see what I got going on. And I'm like, that's what I felt like. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers stand around waiting to see if I go crazy. Right?
No, they waiting to see if you come up so they can go back and tell her, see, that nigga couldn't do that when he was on your couch, just like the Issa Rae.
Talking that bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, man.
When I had went and bought a BMW.
Oh, goodly.
Damn. Was your balls completely dragging, motherfucker?
Look.
You just
like
Santa Claus coming through the hood, dragging them balls.
Look, the night, matter of fact, BGS, the night that I gave my girl, like I had proposed to my girl, right? So I had the ring, the engagement ring and shit, right? The night that I did that, I was in the bed. It was like 12. I think I had to go to work the next day. So it was like 11 o'clock. My phone started ringing and I looked. It was her.
She felt it.
I don't fuck.
The disturbance in the force.
Like, nah, no, I'm going.
Not even doing it. Right. No, that ain't gonna be nothing but a negative, draining conversation.
No, that's all it was.
And suck the energy out of you, like
feed me Seymour.
Like this, what movie was that where I can't remember what movie that was where the person would suck the energy out of the other person into their mouth. What movie was that?
Sleepwalkers or Life Force. Sleepwalkers with Stephen King. They were the little changeling things.
How do they have the fucking
the Harry Potter? What you call them? Dark Seekers? I forget what they call it. They suck the energy out of you.
Yeah,
I don't watch Harry Potter.
How do they have the ability to do that, man?
Because they connected to you, especially if you had a kid with them. They got some connection to you. They got some of your essence in them, so they feel it.
The vessels are always trying to pull the light into the vessel.
Man,
thank you, BGS, for breaking it down esoterically. It makes it all more scary.
It does. That's why you have to pick the right vessel.
Yeah.
You said vessel, and all I thought of was that closet door in Poltergeist that looked like a damn vagina sucking everything in the house into that motherfucker. I'm like, oh shit.
That's
the women are black holes.
Yep.
That's the other thing about fatherhood that never gets discussed is the guys who are called deadbeats. Their they're being told that they're not doing enough, and nobody ever thought about the aspect that one reason he's avoiding the situation is because he's avoiding that.
Yeah, exactly.
With his kids, he's gonna have to deal with that succubus. He's gonna have to deal with that whole situation that actually brings on anxiety.
Why do you think she has the baby for you in the first place?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
To connect you to her permanently.
To permanently connect you.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that
Angryman. Go ahead.
My biggest concern was that my son, since his mother, she died when he was 4. So one of his issues is he doesn't remember her. He doesn't remember what she sounds like, what she smells like. He doesn't remember. And I was always worried that that would make him susceptible to certain types of, exploitation from women. But having witnessed my relationship since in the last decade, my son is more red pilled than I ever was at his age.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, the
Is he a Gen Z?
Yeah, he's a Z.
First girlfriend I met, she was the exact opposite of every woman I've ever been with. And they broke up, and I didn't even know it. I said, I said, when did y'all break up? He was like, oh, a few months ago. I said, but she still calls. He was like, yeah, we cool, but yeah, we're done. I said, did she fight with you? He was like, oh no, I don't deal with that. Because he watched all of the shit that I've been through. So I got exes that'll be like, well, why your son doesn't like me? What did you tell him? I said, I didn't have to tell him nothing.
Oh, shit, he saw you. Yeah, he saw
watched.
Hey, so is he
made
done?
A decision.
Is he done or is he done?
Man, when I asked him his plans in life, I'm telling you I don't know how long it takes before he mentions a relationship or a woman. I mean, it's not on his agenda at all.
Those are the Z's.
Yeah. My daughter is like this. Her last thing on her list is kids. She ain't seen what I went through. What it's like. I'm good. Look, I got other things to do.
Oldest told me outright he's never having any kids.
Tell him tell him no. That's his duty to give you a grandchild. carry that name forward.
I'm glad I'm not a Z because I would never had any either.
Me either. Them Z's are really not on it.
I love them. I love them because I can't imagine my life without them. But the thing is, if I had gone through, been a Z and seeing how you brothers go through this shit, I wouldn't have.
Oh hell no! Yeah, I've been scared off of that shit too. Like hell no, it's gonna be straight transaction. Here's the contract. Yeah. We're gonna do this for an hour 45 minutes, and then we good. All right.
Yeah, that's monk mode, boss. He said, "Hey, if there ain't no money involved, I ain't having it. I ain't having no money involved because you're gonna leave after that time limit and stuff."
But I trip out because at 14, we were doing everything we could to get with girls, do whatever. This generation, I mean, I think I told BGS this. I sent my son to summer school last year. Because he was going into his first year of high school, so I put him in summer school so he could get acclimated. And he came home halfway through it, and I said, "Well, how's it going?" And he was like, "Everything's cool." I said, "Well, what about the girls?" I said, "How are you guys doing?" He said, "Oh, we don't deal with them." He didn't say I don't. He said we.
They on code, huh?
I said, what's the deal? He said, he was like, they're not likable. Wow. And he went through and explained each racial group of women and why they were not likable. And by the time he got to black women, which is the last one, he said, and they are incredibly mean to you, and that's when they like you. He was like, so we just decided we don't, we're not dealing with them.
That's the funny thing about Z's is like they really fucking. This is the part that impresses me about them. They are fucking super articulate about analyzing everybody else. They are super articulate about that. My daughter blows my head back when I hear her talk about things. It's like that's like above her age level that she should be talking about that.
The funniest shit that I ever heard in my life was one day. Now this is when my boys first started staying with me, right? So one day we're all having this conversation. I think I might have been on a live stream while it was happening, right? And so we were talking about them having girlfriends. I didn't know if they talked to girls or not, if they had got to that point. No matter of fact, we were at a restaurant eating, Like me and them, I took them out to the museum to spend some time with them. And my son was on the phone. My oldest son was looking on the phone, but he was kind of like a little bit. And so my second oldest son, I was like, what is he doing? Because I was talking to him, he wasn't paying attention. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, he's talking to his girlfriend. And he looked over at the phone, and my son, the look on his face when he tried to look at that phone was priceless. And I realized that my oldest son, he's super private, right? So now I want to delve into this. Now I want
to look.
I'm asking questions about stuff, and I'm asking him questions, and he was like, yeah, man, you be trying to do XYZ or whatever. And the oldest one was like, I know you ain't talking, you be phone later, you be in the bed at night, phone girlfriend, and I be hearing your conversation, and you got way more issues than me. And he's like, what do you mean I got issues? He said, man, you be simping too hard. I almost fell out of the freaking chair when he said that. He's like, man, you a simp. And he's like, I ain't no simp. You the one that be simping. And like, I asked him, I said, so do y'all plan on getting married when y'all grow up and shit? They was like, no. I asked the second one, I said, man, sooner or later, you gonna see what I've went through with you soon as you have kids. He's like, that ain't never gonna happen. I said, yes, it is. I said, the way you act, you definitely gonna have a kid that act like you or worse. He was like, it's not gonna happen, Dad. I was like, why? He's like, because I'm not having kids.
See,
like shit.
My son didn't come out and say he wasn't, but he was like, whenever I would say one day you're gonna do this with your child, he'll just look at me and be like,
no,
but he did once say to me, this was like a week ago. He said, I don't see the something like, I don't see the scenario where I would get married. Like, I don't see what it would take for me to want to marry somebody, which says a lot about where things are actually right now, because all these kids have done is sit back and watch.
That is dead. It's wrong. Because look, this is the thing I realized more than anything. I've been paying attention to it. They probably don't know that I've noticed it, but my second oldest, he's the one that is always on some in defense of his mama. But when he was in VA, he wouldn't live with her.
Okay.
He would stay at his grandmother's house. And one day, because my youngest son had got into it with his mother, and my oldest son is real detached from her, right? So got into it with her.
What's that?
My second oldest called me almost, you can't believe he did that to mom. I'm gonna fight him and this, that, and the third or whatever. And I told him, I said, man, calm down. I said, and it's not that serious. I can handle it. And he was like, no, man, because this, that, and the third. And I was like, let me ask you a question. Since you calling me, raising all this hell about your mama, like, you wasn't there when it happened. If you would have been there, it probably wouldn't have happened. I was like, if it's so awesome over there, why are you not over there? So he's throwing for a fact. And he was like,
got him.
Got him. She does.
Got him.
Now
there's like giving them nut shots to his kids, huh?
I be hitting him in the throat with this.
Wow! We feel like, breathe, boy, breathe. I do that shit too. It's more. I consider that my sadistic fatherhood joy. It's like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta hit them with the balls with that shit. Let them figure it out. Like, you got it now? You got it? Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, I know. Get your ass up. Get up. All right, now.
I'm curious, BGS. Are any of your grandkids like in the teenage area?
Oh no. They're my oldest is 7.
Okay.
My oldest grandchild is 7.
Do you see that generation moving toward marriage, or what do you see?
Since I have a millennial son, and he tried marriage because and he had a pretty decent wife in my opinion, and it just ain't for him.
Yeah, my daughter not talking marriage. She got a boyfriend, but she ain't talking marriage, and she definitely ain't talking kids. So it's like, look, okay.
Like my son, he's got his little son, and basically says, what do I need his mama for?
Yeah. See?
I don't need her. And in fact, you have a lot of his buddies that have in the same similar situation. They just got their kid, man. Just hey, he's coming with me, or the little son's coming with me, and you need to shut the fuck up and sit down because I don't need you. We don't need you. We good.
Wow.
See, that's the one thing I don't have with my son. I wish I did was that he would have really adopted that philosophy of getting your kids, because I've been saying that since I went through the shit with him to any brother that would listen about having kids. Like, get your kid.
Yeah.
Take your kid. Don't be getting into it like, oh, well, maybe this, maybe that. Fuck all that. Take your kid.
Yeah.
Because trust and believe it'll fare better with you living in a box.
Yeah.
Than you gonna fare if she got the kid and not. Like,
yeah, because he saw his mother actively prevent me from having him. Especially when he got to be like 13. I said that little boy he needs to be with me. He's 13.
Yeah, see, my son still, I think he got a little bit too much of still that mama stuff in him, and he wasn't seeing it as much because the stepfather is like perennial stepfather. Like any chick he's with, he's daddy to that kid that he's with. So he took on more of that role, and that's the part that I worry about. It's like, okay, we're gonna see how this play out, but he was a little bit too resistant to taking that red pill a little bit and just saying like, look, you need to protect yourself. Like, no, Dad, it's just like this. Like, oh, here we go, nigga. Okay.
Yeah, I pissed my son off because I tell him, I said, if you had been with me, you might be in the league right now.
Ooh, damn, BGS. Nut shots.
You might be in the league right now. I said, if you had been with me.
Yeah, if my son would have listened to me, he still would have been in Italy. I had my son gone. He had his mindset to be away from here and living in the world and doing his thing, and he got hooked up with a little bit of a older chick, and his mama was giving him reasons to come back.
Oh God, yeah.
As soon as he came back, what happened? Bam, baby, trapped, nigga. I'm like, damn it.
I know that.
Just about free.
Because when it came to the practice and getting in the league, you want to do that. Okay, then going overseas to play, Mexico, China, Europe. Okay, Mama talked about doing that, and then the last thing she talked about was he had 5. What is it called? They call them G leagues. But it was CBA at the time, right? Had 5 G League teams looking at him. I said, look, pick a team, and basically tell me what you need. I'll supplement your income. I said, in case it don't work out, you give me. I said, no matter where you are, you shoot me an email. I'll get you home. Just go take it. Go take a chance. Go take a shot at it. He never did. They talked him out of it.
And you can't get
my son was
He's 34. It's too late.
Yeah, my son was a chef. He was in his 20s and he was trying to live in Italy, got hired onto the program that he went through to actually teach in Italy and work there. And he was trying to live there and stay there. And I was like, go, stay, please.
Don't come back.
Get away from here. It's like trying to get the other dude out. You stuck in a bear trap and you see you got freedom. Go, man, run. Get the hell out of here.
That's what struck me in Fences when Denzel said that. I want him to get as far as as far as the hell away from this life as possible. Why the hell would I want him to have my life?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely. That's why I love that movie Fences. It got shit on a lot, but I loved it because he was a father giving up the real to his son, trying to help and save his seed. He knew what he was dealing with. He was dealing with his own demons, so trying to save him. And that was one of the hardest conversations I had with my son, telling him, like, motherfucker, you don't know how many times I want to give up being a fucking parent because I'm going through this struggle trying just to be a father, just being a father. I'm getting all this grief because I want to be there with your ass. If I was hustling on the street and didn't give a fuck about your mother, I wouldn't be dealing with all this shit. The amount of money I paid in child support, I added that shit up for him. I said, this is a house, motherfucker. Don't be looking at me like, oh, you didn't provide nothing. I said, look, I'll show you all these receipts that your mama been getting. Are you talking that dumb shit to me? Don't look.
That's like with my oldest son. I had a conversation with him because he was on some bullshit. Like, he come out of the room one day, he was asking me something about, like, he has to get his social security card because it got lost, right? So he comes out of the room one day, he's on the phone with his mother, and his mother's trying to explain to him what he needs to do and shit, right? I tell him, I said, look, man, because I already had the conversation with him. I said, look, all of these government offices are closed right now, right? Mm-hmm. I said, when they open up, we'll go get all of that situated. Now, the reason why he get it situated is because he wants to get his ID because he's about to turn 18, and he thinks, just like all young black boys, he thinks that he has to have it all figured out right now.
Okay.
He's, you know,
I'm pumped up.
Comes out of the damn room on the phone with her, and I can hear her in the background. This is what you need to do. And I said, dude, hang that.
Thank you.
And I told him, I said, look, have a seat. Let me talk to you. And like I started to have the conversation, and it pissed me off so bad I had to leave the house for a second. I left the
house. It's about to go down.
Right? You had to take that walk, right?
Yeah. I
was taking a walk.
I was having a conversation with him. His younger brother was sitting on the couch looking crazy. I told him to mute the TV so I could have a conversation. My girl is in there. I'm expecting her to co-sign the shit that I'm saying, but she's preoccupied. I got so mad. I was like, you know what? I got to leave this house. The stupidity in this house is annoying me. So I left.
The level is too high.
Yeah. Then I got, as I'm walking, I said, man, you know what? Fuck that. I went back and I said, you know what? I'm going to have the same conversation with him that I would have with my audience if there was a dude in the chat room saying stupid shit like that.
Hey, this is actually good practice, believe it or not.
Yeah, it is.
So
Red Hulk came out.
I went back and I told him, I said, look, bro, because I was asking him and he got upset. He was like, but you were supposed to help me go get my stuff because I need to do this. You know, I'm about to be, you know, an adult and I want to be able to go out here and do this and so I can get a place and so that I can do this and do it. And he's running down this list of shit, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, he almost started crying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, his feelings.
He said, what am I supposed to do, right? And this is what I told him. I said, look, I don't know what's going on with you. And I said, I know where it's coming from. I said, part of it is coming from the fact that you grew up in your mama's house. And in this day and age, women try to give the impression that none of you children have fathers. And it's really fucking annoying. I said, and you sit in here and I try to tell you shit and you get in your fifis about it. And it's like you're a whole damn generation that was raised by women. So every time somebody say the least little thing you don't like, you ready to fucking cry about it or some stupid shit. I said, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know right now. I said, I swear to God, if you shed one tear during this whole discussion,
where is my lighter? I don't have a lighter to light the fire.
It's locked in his chest, right?
So look, I told him if you shed one tear during this conversation, we're gonna fight.
That's right.
I said, you're not a guy that doesn't have a father. I said, you're sitting here talking about all of these things. Number one, you don't have to have it figured out right now. Mm-hmm. I said, I've told you numerous times, he does his artwork and stuff, which is really awesome. I told him, I said, look, I've been telling you to find a art school. I will send you to art school. I said, right now you're talking about going to get your license, to get a car, this, that, and third, all of this stuff. I said, has it ever crossed your mind that maybe I have a plan for you? Mm-hmm. 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 I said, first of all, what I want you to do is I want you to find an art school. When you find the art school, we'll get you enrolled in the art school. When all of these offices open back up, we'll get you your license and all of that. We'll get you some little car or whatever and a little part-time job. And then what you can do is you can continue to live with me. Mm-hmm. And you go back and forth to school. You have your little part-time job where you have responsibilities. You start paying your own phone bill. You pay for your own car insurance. Maybe you help out with a bill or something so that you can learn responsibility in a safe environment.
Right.
You just jump out there where it's all dependent on you. And then you end up having to come back home. I said, I've had to come back home a few times. I said, if you do it the way I want you to do it, you'll be straight. I said, my cousin, I have a cousin that lives in VA. I said, when we were up there that time and we went by there, I said, what did you notice about my cousin? He was still living in his mama's house. He was 20 some years old. He had a college degree. He freaking worked in the medical field. And his mother didn't have no problem. His mother and father didn't have no problem with him staying there. When he moved out from his mother's house to a house he was buying. Ooh. You see what I'm saying? So I said, look, you stay here with me. You go to school. You learn responsibilities with training wheels. You know, I'll put you as an authorized user on a couple of my cars, which will build your credit up. Learn how to save money. You learn all of these things. And guess what? When you finish school and you have a trade under your belt and you transition into a job, now you move out, get you whatever, and then you're good. I said, you're sitting here talking about what are you supposed to do? I said, what you're supposed to do is listen to your damn father and take heed to what I'm telling you.
Exactly. Right. That's the strategic support a lot of our generation didn't get.
Yeah,
that kind of direction.
Yeah, Gen X didn't get that shit at all.
No. I moved out at 17. The only thing that you know, I had that interim stage because I was in school, but I didn't have the direction and the training. I mean, by the time I had ever even heard of credit, I think my score was in the 400s. I was like, "What you mean credit? What's that?" You know, but you know, because you grow up where your parents use your ID and stuff for stuff you don't even know about. Yeah. By the time you try to get credit, they laughing at you, and you're like, "What? What I do?" But so I'm doing that same thing with my son, where I want to prepare him and help him before he even knows what's going on, so he has that structure, which I think, you know, is the equivalent of BGS talking about my son could have been in the league. That we're trying to do that for a generation of young men that, you know, and women in Artisan's, you know, situation, to give them what they had to what we didn't have.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of guidance.
Yeah, that was the main thing with my son, was trying to give him that guidance ahead of time in case I wasn't there or whatever, and just to not have him fucked up like I was fucked up in a way because I wasn't given that damn guidance. I had to, you know, like I've told them, bloody my head on many a goddamn wall because nobody was trying to make sure I figured it out. Their main concern was making sure I was paying my way and getting the fuck out their house. And I was the good kid. So as long as I'm paying bills and doing all that other shit, they didn't give a fuck what I was doing. It didn't matter at all. But I wasn't going to be respected as a man. That was the part that finally got me to move out, because we had that powwow.
Well, see, when you get to a certain age, you go from being the son to being that other nigga in the house.
That nigga in the house. Hey, Valdez, I told my son that shit. And that conversation I told y'all about earlier, when he finally started realizing, well, you was right about some shit. She was talking to me crazy.
Yeah.
Mama was talking to you crazy? Yeah, you know why? That money ain't coming. You that nigga in the house now.
Oh, yeah. Mine started preemptively. My mother started that at 12. My mother started at 12, and she told me later, she said, I became more and more difficult, so you would want to leave. So I left as soon as I was 17, but, you know, I'm out there trying to figure out how to manage it with no guidance.
Yeah,
she wasn't guiding at all.
Yeah. And look, I had the same conversation with my sons, because like when they were younger, I was trying to, because they was frustrated, I was trying to explain to them. I said, look, man, a whole lot of stuff is going on that you can't comprehend. I said, you keep wanting to take your mother's side. I said, oh, that's okay. I said, wait until you get older and you go from being her son to being that nigga in the house.
A whole new reality.
Yes.
Gonna be singing like Aladdin. A whole new world.
And I tell mine now that being the other one, the nigga in the house, you don't want that relationship with your girl. No. So when Valdez started talking about the Angryman standard, that's real talk. Do not move in her house, especially with no money. I said you will go from being her man to being her son in a minute.
Go be in a Lawrence.
Oh, please.
There you go.
The first time.
You'll
The
be
first
hurt.
time I heard a woman tell me to take out the trash the way my mother used to say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that.
This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
You go from being the love interest to being the delinquent roommate.
Yep.
See that?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Or the troublesome child.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you're dealing with an older woman, it's even worse. So so I let them know early on. Don't ever put yourself in a situation where you become that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
don't ever get in the box when you don't have the key to get out of it.
The ladder to get off that motherfucker.
I
saw that shit. That was not pretty.
I didn't even know. I didn't even when that show Insecure came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had no intention of watching it until BGS started mentioning it.
Right? See that?
Likewise.
See that?
Likewise.
You see that? I told him that last week. I said I only watch the show now to listen to
because of you.
I'm watching the show, and the moment the first few episodes, I instantly knew what the deal was with Lawrence.
Okay.
Soon as I started watching it and saw the interaction between her and him, I said, shit, I done been that dude before.
Right. Like, I feel Lawrence. I know where Lawrence at.
Because you never talked about it before. Speak on it.
Yeah, I've been Lawrence before.
Okay.
Sometimes, like, I know that feeling of, sometimes, and this is what I think. This is just my assessment of that, me being in that situation. I think if you're a guy and you're in a nest with a woman, right? And you get in that space where you're stuck in a rut, being in that nest doesn't help.
It doesn't help. And the thing is, you know what, Valdez, is what I've mentioned. I actually mentioned this several times. Okay. Because that woman is stuck in that same rut, she will actively try to keep you in that rut.
Yes.
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 You're in that situation. Like, every time I've been in a Lawrence situation, I've probably been in that situation 2 or 3 times. Every time I've been in that, and unfortunately for the Gen Xers, you usually find yourself in
multiple
times in the job market.
Yes.
So
Gen X, dude.
So you're in that situation, and literally what you have to do, and sometimes you end up doing it not by choice, but you have to break up and be put in an uncomfortable situation to be able to come out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
So that because as long as you're in that house and she's holding it down, doing whatever she's doing, you may not be living it up, but you got your basic needs and you got in-house cooch, and you get too comfortable and complacent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure out a way out of that shit. And it also doesn't help that at the same time you're in that situation, she's like tearing into you.
Yep.
It eats away at your confidence and your ego and shit.
Yes, it does.
But yeah,
absolutely.
When that first season I was watching that shit, I was watching that shit. I was like, man, she gonna fuck around and cheat on that dude. She gonna
saw it coming. Like,
and why instead of just breaking up with him,
right?
Yeah,
I said it. I think I said it. I think the episode, not the episode, but the thing is a review before the last one, right? And I said people forget that if Daniel had taken her in, she'd have monkey branched to Daniel and left Lawrence. People forget.
She would have been long gone.
She would have been long gone. The only reason that she's kept Lawrence, because she needed basically a place to actually go back to.
Yep. And the other thing too about that show, I haven't watched. What season is it in now? Second,
fourth. Yeah.
Like, I think I watched the first and second season, I think. But like I'm gonna tell you what really pissed me off about it soon as I started watching it.
Okay.
I'm looking at Lawrence's situation, and I'm already feeling bad for the brother. Like, God damn, Lawrence, you got to tighten up, bro. You know, because I lived it. So I'm like, damn, Lawrence, you know, I've been that dude. Like, come on, Lawrence, you got to figure it out, bro. Plus, like, you're worth so much more than old girl, because she's on right. Yeah. And so I'm watching that, and I'm watching how he's having difficulty getting employment and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they show her and her bullshit ass
job.
Yeah,
exactly.
Shit, man,
like straight after school care. Like, what the fuck?
Like, and I'm sitting there like, she probably making decent money doing that goofy shit. Like,
Yep.
No substance. Yep.
Yeah, brother, get job. Like, I'm sitting there listening because, like, she goes to work and they're showing what she's doing, and I'm sitting there like, how does she even have a fucking job?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've lived that reality too, boy.
Oh man, like that's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you that I finished my master's at 21, and I moved in with my girl, and this is about 98. We were gonna get married, so we lived together in Oakland, and we moved to Oakland from she was in the Bay, I came from LA. So we moved in together in Oakland, and we went to 6 different temp agencies. 6, right? I got my first call from one temp agency 6 months later.
Wow. Damn.
My woman got her first call the next day.
Yeah,
she was employed the entire time.
Yeah,
I couldn't get a job loading boxes. Nothing.
Yeah,
right. That's the Bay Area. That's the Bay Area.
That's like when I got with my ex-wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
We both applied for this call center at for Bank of America, right?
Mm-hmm.
They offered her the job, didn't offer me the job, right? She couldn't even take the freaking assessment. I took the assessment for her. And passed. Not only did she get the damn job, but they started her out at a little more than
Stop describing my pain, man. I've helped so many dumb motherfuckers make more money than me. It's ridiculous.
And look, I'm gonna tell you something too, Dr. Johnson. Now, normally, if I would have came up in any other circumstances, I would find it hard to believe that a brother with a master's degree would have trouble. But the only reason I know it to be true is because when I started staying at my mother's house, my mother was married to my stepfather, right? He had a trucking company. So he had like one truck. I think he got like 2 trucks now or whatever. But he had a trucking company and he made really good money, right? And so one day he's in the office and, he had like a home office. So he's in there on the computer typing up some stuff or whatever, right? And I went in there to have a conversation with him. And I happened to look up on the wall and he's got a degree up there. And I asked him, I said, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's my master's degree from NYU. And I'm like, what
the fuck? Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, what's your degree in? He's like, psychology. So I asked him, I said, well, why are you driving trucks? He's like, because I'm in this area. I've been blackballed. Like everywhere I try to get a job with my degree, I can't get one. So,
damn.
Start driving trucks.
I tell you, you'll get pushed out of a job for having a degree. You too smart for the fucking room. They don't like that shit. That shit. That has been the bane of my existence, which is being intelligent has been the bane of my existence since I've been working. At least working as an adult. That has been the downfall, more of a reason to go at me and try to get me removed than just being a dumb motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
it's been more of a problem. I'm like, God damn. That's why I don't even tell anybody that shit no more. It's like, fuck it, I'm not saying shit. I'm degreed in whatever the temperature is outside, and just leave it at that. I'm not saying shit else because it has been a burden. It has been a fucking burden, dude.
And that's crazy. Like you got to ask yourself, what type of world do we live in where men with degrees catch hell And these women, look, I know chicks that don't even have degrees and they have jobs. There was this one chick I used to deal with.
Yep.
She had a job in a she had a job at a dealership doing it had something to do with the warranties on the car.
Wow.
And she was making damn near 6 figures doing that shit.
Yeah.
I know two chicks right now don't even have a high school diploma, no GED either, making upwards about 50 grand a year in a job, and just as ignorant as all hell. Not just they didn't drop out just because they was smart and they just dropped out of school because they didn't need it. No, these motherfuckers is dumb. Like, you should have stayed longer. You know, you should have cooked all the way. No, but they got decent jobs, being in charge of other people employment, and I'm like, no fucking way. This is just crazy. This is crazy as hell. And had it forever. Had it forever.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Lawrence, because didn't Lawrence got a degree, right?
Yeah.
He had a IT degree from Georgetown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Georgetown,
Wow.
Yeah, and before he was actually an IT director before him and Issa met. Because he actually stopped and actually quit because he wanted to work on his own app. That's
on his own app. Yeah.
He's trying to start his own business.
Yeah,
I was glad they ended the first season and began the second with that arc with Lawrence going off on his own, because I was really worried that he was going to stay this dependent, kind of misdirected individual. But he actually stood up for himself, and I respected that.
Yeah, because they actually overwrote his character without thinking about it completely.
What do you mean?
In other words, if you look at Issa, you look at Lawrence, right? Given Lawrence's backstory, he should have never been with Issa.
Right.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Molly was more Molly would have been a better character for him to have been with.
Don't even started on Molly.
Hey, everybody's had a Molly, okay?
Messy Molly.
BGS knows I can't stand Molly.
Molly is my fiance, right? That 92 climber. Yeah,
I feel bad for you.
Yeah,
Molly ain't shit on that.
Molly ain't shit. That's why you think I know Molly so well?
Man, look, I've only encountered a couple Mollies. See, the Molly type, those are the chicks that, I was always able to smash, but I
no relationship. No, I told you that 12 to 5 dude, man, for them.
Yeah, like I couldn't be around because they gonna say some uppity shit that's gonna make me snap the fuck out.
Yeah, and they know that. That's how come they give you a sandwich and a cup of coffee to go on your way out.
Yeah. Like that shit, man. Nah, because Molly, like, I was just watching that shit one day, and like it was the episode where she was in there, and the other chick that I think it was a white chick or Asian chick was talking about how she was gonna get married. How she got.
Oh yeah.
And Molly was all in her feelings about that shit. Like, why can't I get proposed? Because you a hateful bitch. That's why. Like,
she is. Yeah, she's there. 92 climbers really have an identity crisis, right? Remember in the first season, she was going with that dude that actually was the manager at the whatchamacallit place, the car rental place.
Yeah.
You that dude at the car rental place, right? You're a regular working class Joe, man. You have a little hustle on your side, right? You cool, you got swag, that kind of stuff. She digs you, but the thing is, as long as y'all fucking, y'all cool, right? But when it gets down to relationship and stuff like that, well, you're not quite up to my standard and how it's gonna look toward my friends and all that kind of bullshit.
You don't look good on paper.
You don't look good on paper. You got a lot of boxes missing.
This is my problem with the Mollies. I've been with a couple of them. I've been with a lot of them. And when what'd you say?
You've been with a lot of them, bro. Come on.
But I've been with a few, right? But here's the problem: they moved the goalposts. See, I've been with Mollies where I had more degrees, I had more experience, I was further beyond, and they still said the same things. When you got a woman that makes half of what you make and tells you don't make enough for her, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. Or you have more degrees than her, and she tells you that you need to be more accomplished. I'm just like, really? Okay. The goalpost keeps getting moved. So when you with those mollies and they tell you you're not far enough, don't get it twisted. She'll say the same thing to you when you're past her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm like,
Oh, that's like how my mother talks about my stepfather, because like they ended up separating or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always talking about how he's crazy and how he's dysfunctional and shit.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten a couple more degrees since then. Yeah, like, because he got his PhD. I think he went to school for theology too.
You see that? You see that?
And I'm like, how is it crazy when like this dude is successful?
They will always find a way to elevate themselves over you. That's just that. When I say the gynocracy, that is gynocracy. With my fiance, she was beautiful, man. She was accomplished, all that kind of shit. The thing is, I was smarter than her, and she used to always say to her friends, "Oh, he's smarter than me." But she will always find a way to actually put me. Oh, this is what, like I say, what you haven't done. Find a reason. Well, if you were really all that nigga, right, you would have accomplished this. Or you'd have done this, you'd done that. Look at 50 Cent and his girl. She a hood rat. Okay? She a hood rat. But she always finds a reason to actually put him down and in her essence, put him back in their place. The last week or so, look at Jada. Now Will Smith. Now Will Smith, regardless of what you say, he that nigga. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
All day and everything, twice on Sunday.
And music and movies.
And movies. She always find a reason to put Will down a peg.
Oh yeah. You'll hear everything from, well, you got a master's or a doctorate, but the school you went to isn't as good as it should have been. Or you're in this field, but you should have been, there's always a moving of the goalpost until you get to a point where you like, I ain't doing none of this for y'all.
I mean,
none of it.
Dr. T, you know how many men that if they had their fucking masters at 21 years old, and you were not a black man, you'd be seen like a god.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah,
you were driven and accomplished and everything else. You deserve.
I don't care if you have a master's at checkers. Okay, at 21.
Man, you ain't even got to take it that far, BGS. If I was a white guy, with my background, like not even a diploma, just a GED to reach a certain income level, motherfuckers would be like, "Shit, how'd you do that?"
Yeah, you need to write
an American success story.
Like, there's a guy right there that pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
Right.
Nerf, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's one thing is white people doing it. We expect them to do it, but your own women.
Oh yeah,
to keep you in your because they're what it is really is that in their minds they know they don't really measure up and they're afraid of losing you, and that's what I had to find out.
BGS. I think I told you this, that when my mother had her little break mentally that year or two ago, that shit came out of her mouth. She said that shit like damn near verbatim what you were saying. She said that shit.
Yeah,
she was having some lucid and guiltful episodes or whatever, and out of her mouth she said that she apologized for downing me so much with the family and saying all those untrue things about me, but she didn't want everybody to see my success and look at her like she was lesser than. And I almost jumped out the couch. I was sitting there listening to that shit like, oh
wow.
Where's the recording? Where's the recording? I need that red back.
You need a red bag and get you a drink on the side. Huh?
Man, I was like, this shit right here, man. That's like, and nobody else can hear that. Nobody else can hear it.
In the moments, when they really having their sober moments, and my fiance told me that. She said, "I'm afraid of losing you.
Yeah,
you're smarter than me. What happens if I make you?" She said, "Look, what Issa Rae said, about making that man going through the struggle. You get to struggle you, and also when you overcome that, the next woman gets to accomplish you." When she said that, I said, I don't know, every black woman would actually agree with it because it's exactly what they think. Because they refuse to let you go just on the chance that you might blow up, and it'd be embarrassing because you lost him, and how come he couldn't accomplish the same thing with you that he did without you? And sometimes you can't.
Man, and see, this is ironic because I meet brothers that damn near get married because they meet a woman that's nice to them.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
it ain't about her accomplishments. It ain't about what she has. She's just nice.
That was my ex-wife. That was the biggest thing. The contradiction between my ex-wife and my son's mother was that my ex-wife was at least would work with me. That was she was nice and would work with me. I was like, oh shit. Well, that's gold.
Man, let me look. A sincere apology and a nice demeanor for black men. We ain't ready for that.
Well, basically, we're not ready for it. But I think that it's gone too far. I don't think it's even enough now.
Well, no, I won't.
Thing, and this came from out of the white manosphere. There was a guy that used to be a pickup artist. He said that the sad reality, this is the most prolific statement I've ever heard. He said the sad reality is that in this day and age, there is a whole generation of men walking around with an engagement ring in their back pocket, waiting to put on the first woman that treats them like a human being.
Wow. That must have been
real.
That must have been Roosh.
Yeah, that's real.
That's Snow White syndrome.
That's real.
Will you fit this shoe?
I have a very close brother that actually met a woman that was kind to him, but more than kind. We put it this way: she advocated for him in a way he had never had before. On their first date, they were taking a hike through some national park or whatever, and he ran up on a rattlesnake. Oh, she jumped out with sandals on and stomped the snake.
Damn.
This brother eventually married her and will still, up until like maybe a year ago, would call me and be like, man, she just brought me a sandwich. And he called me he'd be like, hey, is something wrong? Like, do you see something I don't see? Like, he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Right. About PTSD. I mean,
it's PTSD.
Like, he said, I'm reading a book. I said, look down. There's a cup of tea. I look down again. There's a sandwich next to it and a napkin. And he left to go to the bathroom and call me and be like, "What the fuck is going on?
What's going on? Do I eat it? Is it poison?
Eat it? Yeah, it's poison."
Dr. Johnson, beat this shit. My girl that I'm with now, we first started dating. The first year we started dating, right? I was so like a raw nerve because I was so used to dealing with other situations. The little argument. You know what I'm saying? So me and her got into a little spat. It wasn't no big argument. It was just a little disagreement. But I bounced. I was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm out. Right? So she calls me up and she says, hey, can you meet me at such and such at such and such shopping center or whatever at such and such time, right? So I'm like, okay.
I wonder what's up. Something wrong.
I go to meet her, right? And like she says to me, like, so I pull up, I see her in the parking lot, I pull up or whatever, right?
Don't see no goons.
Like, now, keep in mind, I went there ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Look for the goon squad.
What did he say? Get there early, huh?
Yeah,
get there early. Spring the trap.
I'm checking scenery, right? So she and it's just her. I'm like, okay. I wonder what this is about. I'm thinking she's trying to set me up for the argument. We're gonna finish this argument, right? She gets out and she's like, come on. And I'm walking with her. Now, this shopping center has a movie theater, right? So come to find out, I had mentioned something about wanting to see that Max Payne movie, right?
Okay.
And what she was doing, like in hindsight, what she was trying to do is she was trying to take me to the movies to make up for the argument.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Damn, paranoid. I was so used to bullshit. I even called my homeboy and was like, yo, bro, I'm
Looking for the rig up.
I'm with so and so. So if anything happens, this is how bad it was. Like
I've done that.
Right.
I've done that.
When I was with my, my ex, like when I was with my kid's mother, she had family members that was like little low key gangster dudes. So sometimes cats try to threaten me or whatever, right? So I always be, after that, when I got with my girl that I'm with now, I was suspicious of everything. Like PTSD real.
Yeah, see,
Oh yeah.
I had some Latina exes, and some of they brothers and cousins was exes, gangsters. So I was like, yeah, some essays. So I was like, oh, well, just come over. We're gonna be there. Yeah, you playing stupid. I ain't stupid. Like, look, anything happen, it's gonna be some bullshit.
Man, I can tell you, being around people in a functional relationship, and especially if they come out of a culture that isn't especially dysfunctional, it's a trip to see. Like I remember, I was around a couple who I would say are relatively healthy, and I watched them have a discussion. I'm sitting in their living room chilling, and the wife went to the back of the room, and the husband said, "Well, I apologize," and I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, I didn't mean for you to be witness to an argument." I said, when was I witness to an argument?
Exactly.
He said, "Oh, like the last 5." But now listen to this. He said the last 5 minutes that was an argument. Now, first of all, 5 minutes. 5-minute argument I ain't had yet.
Me neither.
I ain't had 5 minutes yet. But the fact
that was just somebody hanging up.
You see what I mean? Man, 5 minutes was enough for me, but he said that I didn't detect anything about that as an argument. And then he's finished by saying, "Well, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." And I'm like, "Cool, I have no problem. I'm about to go. But is there anything wrong?" He said, "No." He just said, "But after an argument, we tend to like to make love." And I was like, now, because my process is, what I call an argument, I ain't trying to touch you after that. Like, I'm trying to cool the fuck down. But I was like, for a week. But I was like, so that's how healthy people engage. Oh,
the arguments that I'm used to is the type of arguments where hopefully you don't got to go to work the next morning.
Exactly, Angryman. That's the ones I'm used to. Like, now I gotta fucking call out. Bullshit. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get up at 4. Motherfucker.
Hopefully, you don't have to go to jail either. So,
and it ain't over when you leave for work either.
No. Like, we'll continue this later. Like, yeah, I fucking know.
Nah, man.
Shit.
Can I speak to James?
BGS, not just showing up at the job.
Oh, hell no. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's gonna be some whole other shit.
I've had it before. So yeah,
yes,
I know
sir.
what you're talking about. Yes, showing up at the job.
Yeah, and post Me Too era, it's even easier.
Oh yeah.
You don't take any evidence, and your whole career is shot behind.
Nah, I split up for my ex, and she showed up to my job, and I wanted to strangle her like she claimed I did. I was like, "What the fuck is you doing here? You better get the hell out of here."
Nah, man. So yeah, but fellas, I don't want to hold y'all too much longer. I appreciate y'all coming out. I just wanted to have some fun because I enjoyed this flick, and I figured y'all might as well. So
yeah. I only watched it because you said something about it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was cool. I want to see where they're gonna take it from here.
Yeah,
what you talking about?
What do you think? What's gonna happen with the Flashpoint, right?
Well, that's how they
did
ended.
Flashpoint.
But that's how they ended the new 52, right?
To a second Flashpoint. You know what you got to do.
But that's
the second Flashpoint, right?
Yeah, the second Flashpoint is Rebirth. Okay. So you get all the comics how they are now.
Okay.
So in other words, go back to getting the glove and the snap, bring back all the people that died, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the only way they can have a movie where they kill off main characters like that. Is that you have to have a way to bring them back because because they're doing some kind of continuity with their movies. You can't have the next movie where everybody dead. Come on, man. Especially you killed all the black characters. Fuck you. I wouldn't watch that shit.
All the black characters are dead, but I'll say to the audience watching, until you've watched Shazam have his leg ripped off,
man,
you ain't seen a superhero flick. I mean, I was like, wow. All right.
Yeah. And well, who's that chick that got shot dead in her forehead, man?
Oh, Lady Shiva. That was some bullshit, though.
Yeah,
that was some bullshit, though. Lady Shiva too much of a beast for that. That was like the weakest way to go out. That should have been Harley Quinn. Lady Shiva too raw for that. Hell no.
I didn't think they would turn this into Rebirth. And the only reason why I didn't think they were doing that is because I didn't really see any reference to Wally West. Because they like, you remember Barry was forgot about you know what I'm saying? So it would be a good jumping off point. What I've seen DC do is that they'll stick true to the comics, but they'll make some alterations. Yeah, they can just have him come back and say, "This is Wally West. I'm a Flash from an alternate, and this is what changed." And erase Barry, and now you got Wally in this shit. Yeah, well, you already had the other Flashes in the Teen Titans. Sorry about that.
No, I'll hand it to DC from Young Justice because I just rewatched that a few weeks ago to the animated films. They've been doing really well. I mean, Flashpoint was well done. Justice League Dark. A number of these stories were better than the live action versions. So
yeah, that's their strong suit. DC, I will give it to them on anything animated. They put it down on their animated stuff. I don't know about the Red Sun because you saw it, you wasn't too happy with it, and I still have to watch it. I ain't paying to watch that shit. But.
That's it. You know what? it'll only upset you if you remember reading the actual comic.
See, that's the problem. I remember shit.
Exactly. if you read the comic, and y'all know my biggest issue, man, I got the comic. When you watch, what is it in the movie? You watch Wonder Woman catch Superman's punch and toss it away like it's nothing. But in the original comic, there's one panel. He flew by all the Amazons. They flew every which way. That was the last time you saw an Amazon. To see that kind of reversal is just irritating.
Yeah,
irritating.
Yeah.
So you got to pay your feminist gods. Come on, you got to bow to the woman.
But other than
bow to the woman.
The one moment in that movie that was completely hilarious is to see Swamp Thing do that double take because he didn't know that machine was fucking up.
Yeah. What? Gonna mess up the green. You're messing up the green.
Oh yeah, the green. Yeah.
And he can't stand Constantine, so he didn't believe him at first.
Yeah. Swamp Thing was black pill at that moment because he's like, they got what they deserved anyway.
Until he found out it was about to be him,
Yeah, like, what is this on my line? Oh, get this shit out of here.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope. So, but nah, fellas, I appreciate it. Are you on tonight, Angry Man? What you doing?
Nah. I'm gonna try to take today and tomorrow off for a change.
All right, that's what's up.
That's what we gonna see about that.
Yeah, got to build that rage. Tommy Curry was channeling you today, though, man. Yeah, man. He was, man. So,
I gotta go back
and watch it, man.
I showed up to a forest fire. I'm like, God damn, what's going on in here?
I was saying the roof. The roof.
I started joining.
I did see that, man.
Yeah. I started joining in on that.
They don't put no water on him.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny to me because that's just how he is. So I hear that all the time.
But I'm even cursed a couple times. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute."
Yeah.
Matter of fact, before y'all go, BGS, I got something you might want to do.
What's that?
Last night, for some reason, I wanted to watch House Party, the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I went back and watched House Party, and you know what I realized?
What?
It's actually a Pookie Ray Ray versus Educated Lame, and somewhere in the middle, there's some dynamics going on in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. In fact, they were actually talking about the class structure as far as the not dating that woman from the projects.
Right.
Was it? Yeah. So, man, you go. She from the projects, man.
Uh-huh.
There's a part There's the part where the three brothers from Full Force, they show up at the house.
Yeah.
And Play is like, he got the rest of the dudes to hold the door, and he was like, "Look, man, no hoods at my party.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Why don't y'all go rob a liquor store?" And Pee Wee's like, "Oh, that shit's real funny." You know what I'm saying? Like, dynamic of the different types of black men. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
While everybody was connected by them bullshit BET commercials from back in the 90s. If you don't remember, go back and rewatch them. Those commercials were hilarious, and that connected the whole black community.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Basically, but they got in. The thing is, that's the way it happens in the hood, is because our classes are so fluid. So 85, a hood dude can show up to a 92 party, even a 100 octane party.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because no, my brother.
Yep.
You got to get your own.
You got to get your own. And there's always some dude gets Valdez to show up to that high class party, right?
Yeah.
And trying to keep him out. Oh man, no hood niggas in this like they gonna party. There's always that one guy. Oh man, he cool, let him in.
Start blazing up in the corner like fuck this party. About to shut this whole shit down.
Right. You ain't never gonna see a movie where you got a Tisha Campbell girl living in a damn mansion, hanging out with her girl who lives straight in the hood, and they just
light skin mansion with dark skin projects. No, you won't.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I don't know how you gonna see that in real life, but you're right, BGS. The class lines in our community have always been fluid. I heard Chuck D once explain it well. He said, in our community, you could be middle class just because your father's at home. Nothing to do with income, nothing to do with nothing else. Just the fact that he lived there makes you middle class in the black community. I said, damn.
Yeah.
You know, so, but anyway, thanks a lot, fellas.
Thank you, Dr. T.
Hope y'all enjoy the night, and I'm waiting for the next videos to go up for everybody. So let me know, let a brother know.
Oh yeah, got to get some rest from actually modding your channel, man.
Your trigger finger should be sore.
Yeah, but you it's 7 o'clock in the evening, man. You usually go till 5 the next morning, Sunday morning or something.
You don't know how late he was up last night.
That's true. That's true.
I was up late till like 3 o'clock in the morning on Art's channel. Yeah, that's true.
Oh shit, yeah, I know, because I heard y'all motherfuckers.
I was trying to get off, boy.
I was up. I'm watching movies and cutting videos and trying to load stuff. I'm like, these motherfuckers still out here talking.
I was trying to get off, boy. Art new style is addicted to it, boy.
Yeah, I missed it. I was watching all of the house party movies, laughing my ass off.
Oh, okay.
I was watching Extraction. That shit was pretty good.
Is it decent? Okay,
that shit. Hey, I got to give it to Chris Hemsworth. He put in some work on that one. I'd like to see that character go up against John Wick. That character went hard. Okay, that Tyler Rake went hard. I'm like, God damn, dude.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
I haven't either.
It was hard for me to enjoy it. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, the reason why it was hard for me to enjoy it is because now whenever I watch movies like that, I'm paying more attention to the guns than the actual movie.
Exactly. See, this is for you too, Angryman, right? I thought about you watching this shit last night. Since you saw it, this won't be a spoiler for you. When he got to the bridge, and him and homeboy just picking people off, right?
Yeah.
And he came around the truck, and I'm looking at his AR. So he got that long barrel. I said, I think that's the barrel Angryman wants. Yeah. That's what I was thinking watching that shit. I said, yeah, that kind of worked because you ain't got to tuck it so much. It's just right there, like
all the tactical aspects of it.
That's what I'm looking at it for. I was like, damn, he was in there. And he went down to the knife fighting with the Karambit. I'm like, oh, he's fucking somebody up now.
Karambit,
he's fuck him up now.
See, Angryman got me envying him, man, because he'll pull that shit up and be showing you clips. I'm like,
he pissing me off with that shit.
I'm like, man, I can't. The situation I'm in, I can't let nobody know what's up, but I gotta watch, man. showing me all the stuff, man. I'm like, hey, I can't open my weapons locker. I need to.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have to go smash no concrete, right, to get to the Foot Locker down with the weapons in it, do you?
No,
Like John Wick.
No, I got fingerprint access, digital fingerprint.
Yeah, see, that's what Dr. Johnson. That's what I was telling Angryman he needed. Said now you need a safe, nigga.
Digital fingerprint, baby. Yeah. But I can't show my stuff, so I be watching Angryman. He at the range shooting. I'm like, oh yes. Just gonna put it in my face like that.
Yeah, he just gonna rub it.
Well, see, you got to stay respectable, sir. You keep trying to creep, man. We can't tell you, no, stay on that side.
Yeah,
you gotta push your ass back. No, you don't belong over here. Stay on that side, God damn it.
I'm not what they say, if you prepared, you ain't got to get ready. If you stay ready,
you ain't got to get ready.
I just can't show my stuff. So I was just like, man,
you want to share with the fellas. Like, I got this too.
Hey. All I gotta say is we need you on that wall.
We need you on that
wall. You know, I had to pull that one out, man.
Yeah,
and then pull out Pink Floyd right after that, man.
I'm gonna play my position. I'm just, don't let it go down. That's all I'm saying, because the safe is ready.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Angryman should be getting a kickback. Because he keeps showing weapons. He gonna up their sales. I know they need to be paying him some money for that shit.
No, man, for real, absolutely, man.
They need to be
everybody hooked. Because I've been collecting swords for years, but I was like, wait a minute, you can put them on the wall?
Yeah,
I told you.
I'm watching this channel like, wait, you get to have it up? Really? Oh, let me get these swords out, boy.
Play them bad boys. You know?
Got to.
I gotta thank you, man. I didn't even know you could do that. I was like,
really? Remember I told you, Angryman, every good geek gotta have a sword. You gotta have a sword, man.
Yeah. You got to.
He the only one with the Sith Temple, though. We don't got the Sith.
He got the Sith Temple.
He got the straight Sith Temple up in there, man. I'm just waiting for people to be in the back bowing with hoods on,
chanting and shit. Don't say that. He might bring back the green screen. Had the motherfuckers from
That's what I was trying. I wanted that feel. I wanted that sort of geek temple feel. You know,
it is. That's your geek temple, man.
Yeah, man. That's tight.
yeah, Dr. Johnson pissed me off. He sent me that text. I wasn't even at home. Saw his whole sword wall. I was like, motherfucker. Like, really?
Man, stuff over there, man. He got
I know. I'm like, God,
he got freaking Stormbreak over there. I was like,
you got Stormbreaker ammo. I was like, this motherfucker double throwing it too. Like, what the?
Oh yeah.
He got his shit together on that geek side. That's what I told him. I just texted him back like, geek elite. Like, motherfucker. Got my respect.
I've been collecting them for years. I was just like, I didn't know what to do with them. I just love picking them up and walking around the house. You know, my son just like, "Are we feeling like Conan today, huh?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I gave you, but it's good.
Look, man, I appreciate all of you, and I enjoyed it. So we'll talk soon, man.
No doubt.
Appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
All right, Doc.
All right. Shout out to the chat. Thanks for supporting the show.
Hit that like button.
They got the likes like better than the watch. That's
awesome. The geek showed up, man.
Apparently,
the geek showed up. Well, and you didn't even get all the crew, man. Yeah, about 3 or 4 more, man.
I tried to get Forte in here, but he said he was at the store. So
okay,
he ain't doing no damn work.
He ain't doing nothing but moving bread.
Yeah, I'm talking shit. It doesn't make his ass show up. Watch. All right, fellas. I'm gonna close this building up and go home.
All right, peace.